Hey everyone, welcome back to the IWP Network, or if it's your first time, welcome hanging out with us. Thank you so much for choosing this podcast, and feedback is always welcome. So make sure to check the links below for all social media links, audio and video versions of this show, and merch. We look forward to hearing from you and hearing that feedback, and enjoy the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, episode 92. Creeping on that one, Bill.
92. Rumble 92.
Oh yeah. Ooh, good rumble. Good rumble. We are live. We thank you guys if you're first time watching, if you're someone who comes all the time, thank you for hanging out with us. Live chat is open. If you're watching live, you can come chat with us, hang out. Our topic tonight is Ron Simmons. But before we get into that, let's talk some fun stuff here. Let's talk sponsors. Thank you to our sponsor, right over Brian's shoulder there, Abaddon Tattoo Studios, a unique professional experience nestled in the small town of Pine Grove, Pennsylvania, where they provide high-quality tattoos and piercings in a relaxed, professional, and sterile environment. Head over to their website. The links are below. You can check out everything they do there. They do really good work. We just gave away 2 $100 gift cards. We may or may not, depending on how big the chat gets. If we get some chat going, maybe we'll do a giveaway. We just throw stuff out.
You didn't give one away for this show.
We have not. No. But I mean, the other night we did a Not Cool in High School impromptu one, and somebody joined and they were local, and I was like, so they brought up beer, and I was like, oh, you live in the area still? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, you want a $10 gift card for a business? And they're like, sure. So I just gave one away.
Yeah.
So depending on how good the chat goes, we're always about trying to give stuff away here and there. So maybe it'll be a t-shirt or anything like that. Speaking of t-shirts, TeePublic going up strong again. There is no sale. 35% sale is off.
I was gonna say, is it still going?
No, but they always put them up there.
Yeah. So just wait.
Yeah, or you can get it now.
Yeah, we can get it now.
So yeah, we if you want some merchandise, we got some up there. We have the new NWO spoof up there.
Okay.
We have our new Raw is War spoof up there, and yeah, excited about it.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll have something new.
You can select different colors too, right?
Yeah.
So if you want, you don't have to get a black shirt, because not a lot of people are going, oh, a black shirt. Oh, I don't want a black one. Well, get a gray one. Get a blue one. Get a red one.
We talked about last week about I needed to make another one and change it to blue. I was an idiot.
Yeah.
So BWO is a white logo. Just change the t-shirt color.
Yeah.
So you can get a BWO inspired TTP shirt. I may have ordered one.
Oh boy.
So we actually have it in white for the NWO. You can get in red if you're a Wolfpack guy.
There you go.
Or we have a reverse color spoof where it's black on a white shirt.
Oh,
so
okay.
it's the NWO.
The negative.
It's like a negative NWO, which is kind of
no black and silver NWO 2000 yet.
Oh yeah, no.
That was bad. You don't want to do that.
You can get the black on a gray. I mean, I ordered in black and gray. I think it looks cool.
The one Tornado tag shirt I have is actually blue. I thought when I grabbed this shirt that it was grabbing that.
Yeah. Oh. What is that? The Beavis and Butthead.
This is my Hawk and Animal Beavis and Butthead. You can't see it because my camera's awful, but it's Beavis and Butthead as the Legion of Doom.
Yeah. You're let's talk t-shirts quick.
Yeah, rush.
You're wearing the Kurt Angle.
Yeah. I got this from someone who listens to the podcast. Scott. He's commented on some of the posts before. He gave me this.
Cool.
Nice. Andy, you're rocking
Okada. It's probably hard to see until
You'll see me and Andy's shirts on the photos at the end.
It was a throwaway line, but one thing Meltzer said on one of his audio shows that was very exciting is Okada's coming.
Yeah, to AEW/Impact.
We said it.
Yeah,
we said this.
They're all coming. If Okada comes, then that everybody.
I'll listen.
Everybody.
Is he going to have the gimmick that he had in Impact before, where he's Joe?
I hope not.
Yeah.
He's not going to Impact. No way. There is no way in hell he's going to Impact. He's going to AEW.
If he goes to Impact, it's to get revenge.
Never say never.
Apparently, Don Callis, when he came up with this idea, him and Scott D'Amore flew to New Japan to apologize to the whole roster.
There you go.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
get the working deal.
Never say never.
Yeah.
We said back in year. All right,
and they sent Dave Finley and Bruce Robinson.
Yeah.
So I said a while ago, and I mean, listen, a blind squirrel finds a nut every now and then. So I'm not saying I'm a prophet or I had anything, but I said with this new AEW, man, and the way they're trying to work with people, like they said this a while ago. Like if you pay attention to what they're saying behind the scenes, they said they wanted this to be a thing for a long time. And I said, how awesome it would be to have everyone working together. And because we're wrestling fans, and we were like, this will never happen. And then we're like, if this were to happen, or maybe ROH, maybe New Japan, and then New Japan
Impact were not on good terms.
Yeah, New Japan and Impact. Impact was almost like a never. No way they're going to work with Impact. And that's the first one they worked with. And then New Japan starts opening up because they changed management. And now here we are and then NWA Power joined in on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Something. It's cool.
Yeah.
And now apparently there are talks once again. This is a newer thing. There are talks again. I'm just trying to find the story here. Significant talks. New Japan reportedly in significant talks to return to Access TV, which is owned by Anthem, which owns Impact Wrestling.
Wow.
Yeah. And from what I've been hearing, there has been talks amongst people reaching out, whether it be in media or actually behind doors, where they are pretty much saying to WWE, the door is not closed for you either.
What Tony Khan says, but he knows
WWE is the one closing that door.
Yeah,
they're not letting Kyrie Sane work Stardom. They're keeping that door closed.
Yeah, he knows that. No, Vince ain't gonna allow it.
Yeah,
so, but as long as Vince McMahon's allowed, nah.
But just it does mean something when the other side is
reciprocal. Well, yeah, because of course, because they have so much to gain from that, you know.
Yeah.
There have been exceptions. I mean, he did let people work with Carlos Colon in Memphis, but he would always see those things as developmental territories. Even now, like they'll have people on ICW and Evolve when Evolve was around, but they like to have it very much where they're in control. And I think that AEW especially is going to want more of a collaboration. New Japan's going to want more of a collaboration.
Yeah,
not a partnership or not a thing.
It's gonna be a fun time. Yeah, so like I said, if you guys want to support, we will immediately following this show, we will be going live once again over on Patreon. What we're going to do is we use this platform called StreamYard. And what we're going to do is we're going to put, when we invite you as a guest, so like when I do this, I send in our group chat, I send a private link, these guys join in, and then I click them in. But if I don't click them in, they can still watch the show and interact as a private chat that we can read, that, you know, that it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of cool interactive things on this StreamYard that we use. So what we started doing on another show is we're going to send out the link about 4 to 5 minutes before we go live on Patreon. You can click that link and join in and watch the show live before we post it.
Oh, cool.
So that is an open. So if you want to join Patreon, that is, we have $1 will just get you a shout out, and $5 will get you access to the shows, and you get bonus content. I will say I'm very proud of what we've accomplished so far on Patreon. I think if you join right now for $5, you're getting a lot of content when it comes to episodes and shows. Like pretty much the only ones we haven't done bonus.
Double. You didn't do a beer show because
like the one beer show because we recorded 2 that same day already.
Yeah.
But there is a lot going on there. So I want to give a quick thank you to Brad Zalonis, our newest one, and the PA Pile Driver for their donations. I'm just going by the last 30 days.
Curtis, by the way, in the chat.
He isn't. Oh, I see it. Yep, there it is. Curtis is hanging out. Also, we have Higher with Another Words podcast is still a pledge. I'm doing it for my phone, and I always lose track of who, because it doesn't show me everybody after so many days.
Yeah.
Higher with Another Words.
The mysterious Jay.
Jay, the mysterious Jay. Also, Keith Skater, Jen Myers, and Austin Blackwell.
Okay.
So thank you guys so much for your donation. It's $5. It helps us out. It is a monthly
donation. Or just $1 if you want.
Or $1.
Or any amount, whatever, you know.
If 300 people do $1, that helps us.
That's wonderful, yeah.
And we use this to get microphones and stuff like that. When it comes to equipment-wise, I believe we're very close to what we need. Like when it comes to doing the show here, I'm satisfied with equipment.
Yeah.
When we take the show on the road, there's like different tripods and different things we need camera-wise that I still want to get that would help us out. We've been really lucky because there's really no shows to go to or places to go to, but I want to have it prepared and maybe test a little bit before we go. Also, I would like to get to the point where I can order other people equipment. So if you guys are recording from home, you guys can get a microphone. I can give you stuff to people to take home, like kind of like little care packages. Like, hey, you know, because of COVID,
you could order shirts that, like, let's say you ordered and you have 30 and
we have them in stock, so we're not just doing
magnets
it, and we can support
merch.
A local business. And well, that's what we were doing for a while there. We were taking the money we were making and we're just buy a bunch of pins or stickers or buttons, and we just give them all away. And it helped to get us name, like recognition, but now we're starting to put it towards, because pretty much I've just paying out of pocket for the equipment.
Yeah.
And now it's we're the next. Like I would like to get his new earphones. Like if you sat in the studio for more than an hour, these headphones aren't very comfortable.
Yeah. That's what they're
yeah.
Get price to get good feeling headphones. It's price.
Yes, and then we also have to do 6 of them. So I don't want to be like
we're all gonna share. Okay, what? And then give what?
Yeah. So that's where your Patreon money goes, and we really appreciate it. That's where your merchandise goes if you buy merchandise. We do have donations. It's fun. We do have a few people on the Patreon who pay more than what is even required. We're not asking for that, but
great.
We really appreciate that. That's huge. The Patreon, I didn't expect to even have 7 people do it, so I'm very thankful for. But also, it inspires us to do better because now people are willing to pay hard-earned money to support us. So I feel like we have to step up, and I think that's the overall idea of the entire network. We're very proud of that. The network has been growing with other networks and other people, so we have a lot of cool stuff coming up.
The Don Callis Network.
Yeah, so like
the Forbidden Door Network,
the Forbidden Podcast Door is open too. You know, but yeah. So let's get into our topic here this week. Let's get into Ron Simmons as a part of Black History Month.
The All-American Ron Simmons, actually two-time to quote DDP. All-American Ron Simmons. That was his nickname way back when. It was the All-American. And that comes from his days in football. Before he was a wrestler, Ron Simmons was a very accomplished football player. As of 2008, he is in the College Football Hall of Fame, as a matter of fact. And he is from Georgia. He grew up mainly in Warner Robins, Georgia, and that's where he went to high school. He was all Georgia defensive lineman, or no, linebacker in college. He actually moved to defensive line in high school. He was a linebacker. In college, he moved to defensive line. He was a nose guard, which is a very, very rare position right now. And he actually started helped start a Doom. No, damn. And he said, damn. Doom's a little bit later.
Yeah.
He's still in college at this point. And it's one of these things where he helped launch a powerhouse college football. There we go. That's he helped launch a powerhouse college football team that's still around today. Florida State, one of the biggest college football programs.
I know Seminoles. How about
the
that?
Seminoles.
Yeah. I know a little knowledge.
Oh, look at you. Look at you, Andy.
And their all-time great coach, he was there for almost 40 years, was Bobby Bowden. And Bobby Bowden will always credit Ron Simmons with helping him put Florida State on the map when he got there, because he was a highly sought-after recruit. Florida State was a nothing program at that time.
He was a defensive player who he wasn't ranked high, but he was ranked as a possible Heisman winner, which is
he finished ninth. He finished ninth one
which
year,
which is a Heisman is the MVP of college football.
Okay.
If you win the Heisman, you're a big deal.
Yeah.
It is not. It's not very common to have defensive players even ranked for Heisman. Almost 9 times out of 10, it's your quarterback, or it's your running back. But he was actually ranked as a Heisman contender as a defensive player, which is not easy to do.
Yeah.
Not easy to do.
Yeah. 9th place in 1979, 2-time consensus All-American. He was one of the first 3 people to have their number retired by Florida State, even though WCW used to lie about that. They used to say there were only 2. They said it was him and Deion Sanders. And there were more than that. And he didn't really translate well to the NFL. Nose guard, they are usually the biggest guys on the field. If you remember, going back to WrestleMania 2, William the Refrigerator Perry,
yes,
who was very close to 400 pounds and well over 6 feet tall. He was a nose tackle, which is the same thing. You're lining up over the nose of the football, and you're going right into the strength of the defense. And Ron Simmons wasn't quite that big. He was a little undersized for the NFL. He didn't really last. He lasted 2 years with the Cleveland Browns. He went to the USFL, the competing football league, and played 2 years there with the Tampa Bay Bandits, where he played with a guy. He played with a guy on that team. You might know this name, Andy. Larry Fowl. Lawrence Fowl.
Oh, yeah, I know him.
Yeah.
That's Lex Luger.
He was a total package. Yeah.
Interesting that you say that he wasn't the size of at that time.
Yeah,
because now
height-wise,
most defensive players are like not as big anymore. And
he would have been good size, like a linebacker or an outside lineman, but first he was like an interior lineman, and they're still pretty big.
I mean, but like you have a Chase Young who's not a 400-pound man, but
Chase Young's an end. He was a tackle. Well, he was like an interior lineman. Like they tend to be bigger.
Yeah, defensive linemen are running like almost 4.40s now. Like NFL is getting to be a insane time. Like these like you think like these linemen were just big 400-pound sumo guys.
Used to be.
And now it's just like
back in the day, because they were like, well, who's gonna get by that guy? He's big as a house.
Yeah.
Yeah, back then, like your interior linemen were bigger guys, like the Fridge, like Cortez Kennedy, up to Warren Sapp, like that type of guy.
If you were to trade Ron Simmons to the Indianapolis Colts, what do you think you'd get for him?
Probably a third and a second, conditional.
Sorry, you don't get that joke.
I have no idea.
That's a little dig at his football team in there. Go ahead, Brian. I'm sorry. Threw you off.
Yeah. Now we're in the second round pick that went bust club. It's okay.
Yeah.
The number 2 pick overall, rather.
We've been there. RG3.
So we didn't come here to talk about football. We came here to talk about wrestling. We're gonna get Andy back on the show now.
And's like, I hate this.
So
what's going on?
What's a football? It's a prolate spheroid.
How much does this guy weigh?
Yeah, Art Donovan. There's another very good defensive tackle or defensive player. Is that one of the wrestlers, Gorilla? He looks like a businessman.
He didn't even hit him that hard. Hard.
So obviously, being a fixture of Florida State for so long, being a star at that program, Ron Simmons began his wrestling career in Florida in the kind of very last days of championship wrestling from Florida, which is one of the legendary territories. But at this point, it's toward the end of 1986, and the territories are not really that big anymore.
Yeah,
and
just about dead.
Yeah, I think Eddie Graham may have even ended his life at this point. Not to put a damper on things, but Eddie Graham was a promoter there, and he did commit suicide around this time. And then his son Mike took over for a little bit and ran the territory, and then it just kind of went belly up from there. And so Ron Simmons comes in, and he starts off hot because it's Ron Simmons, the football hero. It's like when Ernie Ladd was in the Kansas City territory because he played for the Chiefs. It was one of those things where he was a big baby face right off the bat. And very early on, in December of 86, he does win the Florida heavyweight title from Kareem Muhammad, but he lost it very quickly to Bad News Allen, who would soon be Bad News Brown in WWF. And as we were saying, like the Florida territory is running out of gas at this point. So the only real remnant of the AWA left now is Jim Crockett, or NWA left is Jim Crockett Promotions. And that's where Ron Simmons moves on to. And speaking of territories that didn't last, this was around the time that Crockett Promotions bought the UWF, Bill Watts' old territory.
So this is 89, right?
87.
87, okay.
And Bill Watts plays very, very big in the Ron Simmons' story later. And one of the big reasons you talk about Ron Simmons when we talk about Black History Month in wrestling is going to come later. It's going to be largely because of Bill Watts. So Ron Simmons didn't really have a lot of success in the UWF or when they kind of merged everything together at the end of 87 in the NWA. So he was low on the card. He would do a lot of tag teams. One of the guys he teamed with a lot, and I did want to bring him up here, is Eddie Gilbert, Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert, who was very much ahead of his time as a booker and as a talent and a personality. And I bring him up because it was, I believe, the 15th of February, so a few days ago, or maybe the 18th. It was one of the last couple days here. It was 26 years that he had passed away. He was in Puerto Rico. I think he might have even been helping book down there, and he passed away in his sleep at 33. He was the original booker of ECW. He was a fixture in Crockett, the UWF, the angle we talked about.
Wait, you said at 33?
33, yeah.
Yeah, that's not very.
Did
he started young.
I'm saying,
what did he die of?
Was it partying? Was he a bigger guy?
He was not a bigger guy.
Smaller guy.
Yeah, he was undersized. Yeah. Probably something substance related. There might have been a genetic thing there.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he was not. Yeah, he was not like, it wasn't like when Yokozuna died or something like that, or like the steroid guys that would die all the time. No, he was undersized, especially for that time. If he would have come around 20 years later, if he would have been
all right.
Yeah, he would have been fine. He would have been he would have actually done well because it was more personality driven.
The good old Barlows Deli said a Bob Backlund protege.
Yeah, that's way back in the day when he would when he came in to the WWF. He started very young there. That was one of the first places he went. He always wanted to be Jerry Lawler. He always wanted to be Jerry Lawler to the point, and I'm sure Barlows can chime in on this because he's an old ECW guy there. And when Eddie Gilbert booked ECW, he made a whole thing where he was the King of Philadelphia, and he beat Terry Funk for that title, and he brought in his quote unquote brother as an evil referee, Freddie Gilbert, and Freddie Gilbert was in reality Jerry Lawler's son, not Brian Christopher, but Kevin Lawler, his other son.
Yeah.
So Kevin Christian, what he usually went by.
It's saying he died of a heart attack, and he was billed at 5'10", so he's probably a little smaller than that.
If you are in the School County area and you're all about giving business love and showing support to business, and you're also a wrestling fan and you love to give wrestling fans your money,
and
Barlows
Sandwich
Deli in Pottsville,
and you want a real hoagie, and there's only one place to get it in the whole county.
Yeah, they will literally put the entire like piece of ham, like the whole slice of it, like you're getting a bang for your buck.
A pound of Dietz and Watson.
Which
at a local place running about $7 a pound.
Yeah. So
I don't even have to do my plug this episode.
Yeah. So you're using the chat, so I'm going to show some love. Barlows Deli. If you ask them, they say go to Subway, but don't do that. Go to Barlows Deli. He's actually
and when
done
they
that.
build Jimmy John's or whatever, we go there.
Yeah. So they do this award thing, which I'm doing a quick shoot. They have the Republican Herald Awards.
Yeah, which I think that's a work.
Yeah. So they nominate a bunch of things in the area.
Cackle always wins Best Bank.
Yeah.
I've never voted.
Yeah. But they used to have a category for best podcast.
Really?
In the School County area.
Who the hell won that?
Or best media.
Yeah.
And then it was awarded to the Coal Region Campfire in Pottsville guy. But at the time, we didn't exist.
Okay.
And then we came on the scene, and that no longer became a category. So
there was one game in town, there was a category, and then there were more than one game in town if it stopped becoming a category.
I was like, you know what, I want to win that award. I'm going to make a podcast. No, it's not why I made it at all. But it just
is there best eatery or whatever? I'm sure
everything's on there. I'm not sure if I don't look at it, but is Barlows nominated?
We had Best Deli last year, this past year.
Yeah,
what deli?
The banner is in the front window, so it's really easy to spot on Center Street if you're really looking for a hoagie.
And for the old school, the old heads in Pottsville, the old Boardman vacuum cleaner building. That's what.
Yeah. If I just because you guys are in the chat, your parents are in the chat. If I were to get you guys a banner, would you guys hang it up in the shop?
I'm going to
pay for it
for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in the back.
Yeah. It'll be in the bathroom. No one's allowed to use.
Yeah, I'll just wipe your hands on that banner. Fuck them guys.
Oh man.
You want the banner to smell like an onion, though.
Yes.
I like onion.
If it doesn't smell like a sub, we want our money back.
Can we get oil on the banner?
We want our money back that we paid for the banner, and then we want it back, and then we want to rub onions on it.
I haven't had one in their sandwich in a while. I want one.
Yeah, I haven't either.
I feel
COVID ruined it, man. Like that was our hangout spot to watch pay-per-views. It sucks. I miss it.
I feel like Ron Simmons would have enjoyed himself a Barlows hoagie, especially in the college days when he's trying to beef up.
Yeah.
If he would have more of him, he could have played in the NFL. He would have been big enough.
Yeah.
So you go. We all recommend the Italian.
Yeah. Gene Snitsky is a fan of Barlows subs.
There you go.
Cool.
There's a ringing endorsement.
Yeah. All right.
Way to tie things back. Let's
get back on topic here.
So Ron Simmons and Eddie Gilbert, they lost a tournament final to the Fantastics at one point for the vacant WCW United States tag team titles. Back in the day, there was such a tag division this was still the NWA, not WCW. Back in the day, there were two, and the Fantastics were like the king of the US tag titles. They were a really good babyface.
They were very
team.
good, yeah.
And then he would later team with Al Green. Not as good as Eddie Gilbert. Not as good as Eddie Gilbert.
Not Al Green, the music guy.
No, that would have been really cool.
Yeah.
About sexy tag.
Because Ron Simmons and Al Green.
Ron, I feel like people you know how they have the Allstate guy.
Mm-hmm.
They could have easily hired Ron Simmons for that. He has a good voice.
Yeah,
he has a good voiceover voice.
He could have been like this. He could have taken over for James Earl Jones for the This Is CNN.
Yeah,
he could do a lot of those things.
Yeah, I don't know why they don't hit that guy up. He should be doing voicovers for pay-per-views this week. He has a good voice.
He did the hype video packages for college weekends. That
guy TNA used to have was fantastic.
Yeah.
He was like the African guy. Yeah.
On TNA, no surrender. Yeah.
So Al Green, he was one of the master blasters around this time with Kevin Nash. He was the dog for a little bit, much later. And Big Al, I believe. And at this point, Al Green was excellent, was incredibly green. That is correct in the chat there. he was never that good, but he was very, very not good here. So Ron Simmons is kind of toiling for a while here until they do an angle where Rick Steiner, who he played a guy who may have had a little bit of a mental.
He was slow.
Yeah.
Oh, he was Eugene before Eugene.
Kind of. They never played up quite that
hardcore.
Much.
Yeah.
Yeah. They was a little more subtle than that, but they made it so that he was a little impaired, we'll say. And he had a fan in the crowd that would take a liking to Rick Steiner, and her name was Robin Green. And Robin Green and Rick Steiner had dates, and like they kind of fell for each other, and it all turned out to be a ruse because Robin Green turned on Rick Steiner and helped him lose the NWA TV title, and then she became Woman. Yeah. And Woman is Nancy Sullivan and Nancy Benoit, and we've been through that story a million times.
Yeah, if you're a wrestling fan and you don't know the rest of the Benoit story, actually, it's funny because if a lot of these casual fans who are just starting now, they hear just Benoit, but they don't even realize that his wife, like Nancy, had a great career in the business too.
Yeah, absolutely, she did. She was incredible at being a heel. Like she just looked mean. And so she was very effective, and she's feuding with the Steiner brothers because Scott Steiner's coming in. Rick was there first, then Scott came in a bit later, and so she brings in these masked black guys, two black guys in identical masks, identical tights, and everything.
They're both jacked.
They're both gigantic, big dudes, and I didn't know it at the time because I'm a kid. It was apparently the worst kept secret in wrestling who these guys were because there were two black guys in the entire company. They disappear. 2 weeks later, these two masked black guys show up.
Who's that? I don't know.
So
Mr. America.
So they do get a win over the Steiners at Halloween Havoc, and then the big thing is the Steiners wind up winning the tag titles. So they do a Clash of the Champions 10, Doom versus the Steiners.
Man, that's a lot of beef in that match.
Yeah, I believe then Rick Steiner was of normal intelligence.
Yeah, he once he got scorned by Robin Green, he smartened up a little bit.
Yeah,
he was like, I don't want this to happen again. I'm going to start reading books.
Yeah, that's the 1980s way of getting from one gimmick to another. I read some books and I'm normal.
So basically they did the mask versus titles match, and the Steiners win, so Doom has to take their masks off. And even on the commentary, if you watch the old Clash of the Champions, Jim Ross, I think, even calls it the worst kept secret in professional wrestling. Oh, look, it's Ron Simmons and Butch Reed. Who would have thought? But
this whole time,
that was just the beginning for them. Woman was kind of out of the picture there for a little bit. She had moved on. She was actually managing Ric Flair after that. She moved on to Ric Flair, and Doom wound up being managed by Teddy Long, who
is real quick. Another woman thing here. Her and Sherry, like, is she Sherry level?
No. She couldn't talk like Sherry.
Yeah,
and
Sherry, as far as like female manager, Sherry is in a class by herself at the top. As far as just having the skills.
What about Vicky Guerrero?
She's good. Okay. She's better as like a personality authority figure. Okay. Sherry could wrestle. Sherry could get involved physically. I think I mentioned this on the show we did last weekend. If you watch that Ultimate Warrior Randy Savage match at WrestleMania 7, it's an amazing match, tells an amazing story. Randy Savage does about 80% of the work. Sherry does about 15%. And we're just fine.
She could wrestle herself too. Like
Sherry is just fantastic. We're gonna get into it in a little bit later on the show. We're gonna be joined by Alex, hopefully, but we're gonna call Leak Frog, and I think like the idea of manager and valet. Valet, I don't like that term. You're a manager, like, I mean, when you're out there and you're a mouthpiece.
Well, the thing was like Liz, because like Liz
is the valet.
She wouldn't cut promos. So that's why she was the valet.
It's a dying art, and there's not many people who do it who do it very well.
Yeah,
and
that's because we're like usually trends like what WWE does. The rest of the wrestling kind of follows suit, and they just said we don't want to do managers because Vince's like, why should I pay a manager?
Yeah, why pay another guy?
Which because your guy can't talk.
But
that's the whole reason.
Leapfrog's got them a really good manager.
Cool, yeah. It's good to see a good manager. Everyone likes managers, except
or is he a valet? Which is he?
I just think having more people in the equation there's always more room for entertainment, and in a bit of entertainment, I feel like it's wrong to go against that.
And then if you say, well, I don't want to pay another guy that, but then you make tons of money on TV deals, and I don't really see that argument.
It's silly.
But for that time, as far as like women who could talk, that wasn't really women's strong suit. The two that could really bring it on the mic were Sherry and Missy Hyatt.
Yeah,
Missy was smoking hot.
And we just brought up Eddie Gilbert.
Yeah,
was married for quite a while.
Yeah,
look at that.
Missy was apparently a handful, though. So
she had a handful.
She was a handful.
Oh,
she does Civil War reenactment now.
Really? Wow! How about that?
She's doing Civil War reenactment.
Good for Missy Hyatt.
Where at?
I don't know. I just saw a picture of it on Twitter.
Oh, maybe we can see her at Gettysburg.
Hey, I'll get my WCW 91 card signed by her.
Yeah. Sharon says Sonny was a good manager. Sonny wasn't terrible on the mic.
And she was a good promo as well.
She played a great.
Yeah.
I don't want to I'm not being derogatory, but she played a great bitch.
Yeah.
Jim Cornette has better terms for her, but I mean it's a term she uses well.
Well, I mean that's why she was called. Well, her last name was Sitch, but she was Fitch, and they like keeping that because it rhymed with bitch. Like that was her thing.
Good at what she did. She's currently incarcerated a couple miles from here?
No, I think she's in Jersey now.
Oh, she's in Jersey
now?
I
think she got locked up in Jersey again,
Yeah. She was in Pennsylvania for a while.
Yeah.
Carbon County
area,
Mm-hmm. She lived up like in the Jim Thorpe area, I think.
Somewhere around there south of Jim Thorpe, like Palmerton, somewhere around there between there and downtown.
It's a shame that, how things went for her, but that's another topic for another day.
Sunny side up in through the back door. Okay. Back to Ron Simmons.
Damn. So Doom winds up defeating the Steiners after they lose their masks at Capital Combat to win the WCW Tag Team titles. They keep them to Wrestle War 91, where they lose them to the Freebirds. And after they lose them to the Freebirds, Butch Reed, Ron Simmons' partner, turns on Ron Simmons. This is a good time to bring up Butch Reed because he passed away recently. Sadly, I believe it was 66. I want to say 65.
Yeah, I think 66.
I believe he got COVID, and then it caused some complications with his heart, and that's what did him in. And Butch Reed before Doom would have been the big star of the team. Like afterward, like post Doom, Ron Simmons has a far bigger career, but going into it, Butch Reed was a star pretty much everywhere he went. He was a big star in Kansas City, played for the Chiefs. He was a big star there, big star in St. Louis, big star in Mid-South. And even in the WWF, he was the natural Butch Reed. And the whole idea of that gimmick was he was the natural, and he's a black guy with bleached blonde hair. And they talk about how everything is natural. Sorry, my dog is like dry heaving over there. I'm like, what is going on?
Is he all right? Is he doing better?
Yeah, he's doing pretty good. He's doing pretty good.
Drunk.
I just want to say I got to see Brian for the first time in almost a year.
Yeah,
because I helped him take his dog to the vet. I wish it was on better circumstances, but it was nice to see Brian in person again.
Yeah, he's got diabetes, so he's I had to give him a shot earlier, so he's doing fine.
Yeah.
But the natural Butch Reed was one of Slick's proteges, and there was always the rumor, and I know like Bruce Pritchard on his podcast has tried to refute it, but there was always the rumor that when Ricky Steamboat won the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania 3, the original plan was that he was going to lose it to Butch Reed, but then Ricky Steamboat's wife got pregnant and he wanted to take time off, and they were so mad at him for daring to want to take time off when his kid was being born that they had him drop it immediately to the Honky Tonk Man, and that kind of cost Butch Reed the Intercontinental title. But then he winds up going to NWA and becomes a part of Doom, and here he turns heel on Ron Simmons, which leads to the Thunder Doom cage match at Super Brawl 1, which is Ron Simmons against Butch Reed in a cage, and then Teddy Long is in a shark cage above the ring. So there's a cage, and then there's a cage above the cage.
Well, yeah, with the Jerry curl. That's very... Because he basically just has hair on the sides and the back. It's just Jerry curl.
Well, I think at this point he was bald, because I think this was they were calling him Peanut Head.
Oh, okay, man.
GOAT, the IC champ ever? Are you talking about Honky Tonk Man? Yeah, Honky Tonk Man. He's saying the greatest Intercontinental champion ever.
Well, says he is.
Yeah. I think there's a guy named Chris Jericho that would defeat that.
Maybe there's a guy named Randy Savage.
Yeah, Mr. Perfect.
I think there's a guy named The Miz that could have a conversation.
Oh, well, for consecutive numbers of wins.
Yeah.
No,
hey yo,
hey
yo, listen, Chico.
Yeah.
Who had the best match? So they have that was kind of the blow off to the Doom feud. I think Butch Reed was on his way out there. The finish there, even though Teddy Long's in the shark cage above the ring, he tries to drop a foreign object, or as I said in WCW this time, an international object.
Yeah, because foreign was offensive.
Yeah, Turner. Turner could not.
Offensive right now, like in today's
that
time?
was a TNT or
CNN. It was a Turner thing. Yeah,
it was a Turner thing. But they deemed that if you said the word foreign, it was offensive, even though it meant foreign, as in it shouldn't be in the match.
I'm sure that'll come back up soon.
Yeah.
I don't think they say it anymore, do they? It's like
No, they hardly ever use the brass knucks or anything.
What if they say? They usually just say a loaded fist or something.
Yeah, something.
Say,
it's a foreign object.
Yeah, they don't say.
But didn't mean like it's coming from Japan or Russia or something like that.
Not the China virus.
It's something that
like foreign the rules.
Yeah. It's one of those things too. Like today's times we say things different than what we do now, and then we think about like, oh shit, that can.
I mean, I don't think that's offensive at all.
I can see their point if it's brought up though.
But I mean, but like a foreign object in America is still a foreign object in Japan. It's still a foreign object in Russia. It's still a foreign object in South America. Like it just means in the match. Like it's not. It's from.
It's not supposed to be in the match. You're not talking about international. You're not talking about nationality when you use foreign. You're
like Polish object he's pulling out.
Like when you're saying a foreign substance, like if you're drinking an important beer, that's not a foreign substance. It's any beer is a foreign substance because you're putting something foreign in your body. Foreign meaning not native to you.
Yeah. If anything, it's like worse for them to call it an international object.
Yeah,
now they're bringing nationals or like nations into it.
Just call it a weapon. That's what they call it.
Yeah.
Call it brass knuckles. Call it a chain. Like
goddamn shiv. Yeah, I want to.
Back then it was always you didn't know what it was. It would always be like it looked like a piece of tape. Like it would always.
Yeah, they would tape. Like they would take tape and make a little like thing, like roll it up and then tape around that.
What they would do is they would take Dusty's muffler and then tape it up and then punch somebody with it.
Oof.
Ric Flair would always use the tape.
Yeah, we're talking about the Honky Tonk Man in the chat. The biggest thing he did before being the Intercontinental Champion, he was part of the legendary Tupelo concession stand brawl.
No,
it was like him and Larry Latham against I think Bill Dundee and somebody. Yeah, but he was in the he was like him and Larry Latham, who was one of the Moondogs eventually. They were like this like blonde bombers tag team, and they were in the infamous
Jerry
Tupelo
Lawler's cousin.
Yeah, Jerry Lawler's cousin, exactly.
That's about that's the highlights of Honky Tonk Man's career.
So fresh off of his win over Butch Reed, Ron Simmons does wind up later that year getting a WCW title match. At that point, he had a few matches on pay-per-view against like Oz, the Diamond Stud, whatever happened to those guys.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then they have Simmons and Luger at Halloween Havoc. It's the Halloween Havoc where they did the Chamber of Horrors match. Thank you. They did the Chamber of Horrors match with Abdul the Butcher in the chair of torture. That was one of the big things in that match.
I'm so happy I've seen him live, Abdul the Butcher.
No,
him carry funk.
My buddy Jack got to see him up close and a little too personal. I think he's told that story before.
Yeah,
he got stabbed in the lip with a plastic fork at the ECW arena.
It's terrifying.
And it's terrifying. Well, it'd be even more terrifying if Abdul was bleeding too.
Yeah.
So the main event of that Halloween Havoc was Lex Luger and Ron Simmons 2 out of 3 falls, and Luger does win that match. And then shortly after that, in '92, that's when Bill Watts, we were talking about him earlier, he was the head of the UWF. He winds up taking over WCW. They had forced out, I think at that point it was Kip Fry was running WCW before him. So
and what was Dew? What was his last name? Dew?
Bob Dew, yeah.
Bob Dew, yeah.
So Bill Watts comes in. He had run the UWF and then he had been out of wrestling. He was a wrestler himself. He promoted like Louisiana and
South for years and years.
Yeah, like Alabama, like the deep South. And he had a thing, and Bill Watts is a very controversial figure, and he wound up getting fired over it too. But he had this idea when he was in New Orleans. New Orleans was his big city when he was running the UWF and running Mid-South. And New Orleans is a city with a very large black population. And so he wanted to have a black champion that would be, a hero to the black crowd. And it was very similar to what they did with Bruno Sammartino and Pedro Morales in WWF. Like, the reason Bruno was such a big draw is a lot of Italians in Philadelphia and Pittsburgh and New York would pay to see him. They would pack the Garden. A lot of people from Puerto Rico would pay to see Pedro Morales. And so it was the same thing. And it was the same thing with JYD. And he was huge. He was Hulk Hogan.
It's kind of like how we voted a president, right? They catered to a crowd. And I'm sorry, keep going.
Do you want me to get political, Tony? I try to keep that off this show, but I can go. You want to go? I don't think you want that.
No. So Ron Simmons.
The heat coming from this can maybe heat things up because they're not okay. No,
you almost opened Forbidden Door, Tony.
I almost did.
So it was a similar idea where he wanted to try to create a black babyface star, like a high end star, because to that point you didn't really have that in WCW. You didn't really have that anywhere. Like Junkyard Dog was probably the biggest, and he was usually a mid-carder.
Mm-hmm.
And so Vader is their champion, and he had just beaten.
At this time, have we already crowned our first black tag team champions with Rocky Johnson and? Oh
yeah, that was when Ron Simmons was still playing football.
Or something.
Is that technically the first time we've had black champions?
I want to say yes. There might have been like a at least for WWF or WCW. I can't think of any others. But yeah, I think it would have been Tony Atlas and Rocky Johnson, and that would have been. I think it was a little later than that. I think it was like the 80s.
Was it?
When
it was like 81. I was thinking it was like 79 or 78.
Yeah, the Soul Patrol, and that was in WWF.
Yeah.
And yeah, so then you had, but even Doom, like Ron Simmons,
they were
Doom, they were tag team champions too. But unless you count Bearcat Wright, and we went over that last year.
Yeah.
Unless you count Bearcat Wright, you didn't really have a black world champion. At that point, I don't even think you had a black like United States. Farlow's in chat. Bobo Brazil, he would have been like the US. He was the US champion. He was
I'm not sure.
He could have been a tag champion. The US champion, like a national touring US champion. He was the champion of the Detroit territory. That might have been considered a world title by some people. And because it was the one the Sheik would have, and it would pass back and forth between the US and Canada. It was like Detroit, Toronto, that area. But as far as like NWA, AWA, WWF, like those, what you consider the classic big three companies.
So just a quick Google search real quick. It says from 1860 to 1870, Vero Smalls was Black Sam from Vermont, and he was a slave to first black professional wrestler. I don't think they ever gave him champion. Then the 1950s, Ethel Johnson was the first woman of color in pro wrestling.
Oh, wow.
And then Bobo Brazil.
Wasn't there a Sweet Something Brown? She was like a women's champion, I think.
I'm not sure. But maybe later on this time. I'm just going by this timeline. And then 1962, Bobo Brazil, the first unofficial African-American world champion. And then Bearcat Wright, 1963. Then Rocky Soulman Johnson and Tony Atlas in 1983. And then Ron Simmons in 1992. And then Jacqueline is your first woman African-American champion in 1998.
WWE,
yeah. I think they're going by like this could just be WBE, but yeah.
Yeah, the one in the 1800s that would have predated what most people consider modern world titles, where the one they usually consider it starting with is the one from the early 1900s, the old National Wrestling Association. Title with like George Hackenschmidt and Frank Gotch. But there were like regional, like every state had their titles. Before then, the big thing that would keep track of like the best wrestler, it was actually this nationwide like magazine. It was called the Police Gazette, and it was almost like Ring Magazine would follow who the best boxers were. This was who would in the pioneer days like follow who the best wrestlers were, and people would like gather around and gamble on the matches. And the reason wrestling matches started being worked even way back then was because the two wrestlers would have money on it, and they would say, "Okay, well, I'll take the fall so we can both collect."
How corny is that?
They pull a Kevin Nash and he just falls over.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
But so yeah, that's how Worked Wrestling began.
Yeah.
But so for all intents and purposes, as far as a recognized major nationwide company, again, we're just at this point we're talking AWA, WCW, NWA, WWF. Ron Simmons would have been the first, and the way it comes about is Vader had very recently beaten Sting for the world title. And Sting was going to get a rematch in Baltimore. It was a house show. They televised it later. And Sting gets injured by a incoming Jake Roberts. It was Jake Roberts' debut, and he DDTs him and puts Sting out. So they do a lottery, basically, of all the people on the show. Like, somebody's going to get pulled out of a hat, and that person's going to get to wrestle Vader. I wish. I love the lethal lottery. I'm surprised AEW hasn't done a lethal lottery.
I know they should. They will.
Oh yeah, they will.
Now, we watched the match before we started.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, the crowd fucking goes crazy. There's a guy in the crowd, a black kid in the crowd, who's probably sitting 6th row, and you see him losing his shit throughout the match. Every time Ron's getting an advantage, this kid is jumping. He's David Lee Roth touching his toes. He is enjoying what's happening. As soon as Vader bounces off that rope and catches him in the power slam, this kid runs in the aisle and just takes over the front row. He's already there. He knows the end is coming, and he is losing
jumping up and down
his shit. Now my question is, because obviously I wasn't a WCW fan, or I didn't watch or that. Was it sold as we're going to make this our first black champion, or was it just sold as if Ron Simmons being a professional wrestler and he's beating the bad Vader?
My reaction, and I did follow WCW then. I was like 9. It was like, Ron Simmons won the title? It would be like now if I'm trying to think of a guy who's in the mid card and he's over, but he's not like.
Was it a Kofi moment? Would you say it was Kofi before Kofi Mania?
Kofi, you could see it coming a little more. This one was so like you turn on TV and like, Ron Simmons is the champion. It would be like if you turned on Raw tomorrow and like just say there was like house shows. Yeah, and like just all of a sudden out of nowhere, Big E won the title.
Right.
Okay.
And it'd be like, oh, cool, Big E, that's awesome.
I'm just
like,
trying to put perspective for maybe if myself. I'm not trying to make myself out to be this giant wrestling encyclopedia. I'm definitely not you guys, but I want to put in perspective of the impact of how we can translate it to today's time.
They did definitely try to pin it as something like this is historic, like this is the first black world champion.
Something that's still very progressive.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the forefront of what they were pushing.
The crowd lost their shit. Like it was really, it makes
wrestling crowds are so much better back then.
Oh my God. It made me miss live crowds again, because that experience of just seeing people in the crowd absolutely
lose their minds. It was so great.
And just, I don't know. And it kind of like, I don't know what messaging boards or dirt sheets or behind the scenes was, or how people are just so overcritical of everything they watch instead of just enjoying the performance. Like, I hope when we get back to live wrestling again, it's just like people can just enjoy the product and just enjoy the storylines. And
there's always people that can, but
yeah.
Like I'm thinking back, I think when I was 9, like I said, so I think I was just still upset that Sting wasn't the champion, because Sting was like my favorite wrestler in WCW. Farlow's gonna chat. This is exactly what I was thinking of. It was a lot like when Bret Hart won the title from Ric Flair, because it was like it was a sudden jump. Like you didn't really see Bret Hart as that kind of guy, but once it happened, like, okay, that makes sense. I could see Bret as the world champion. Or when Diesel beat Bob Backlund, because Diesel kind of went from being a guy who was Intercontinental champion like once, and he was a bodyguard for the most part, and now he's the world champion. And so it was surprising but cool, if that makes sense.
Yeah, interesting. All right, I just wanted to not just glaze over his championship win. I wanted to kind of
no. It was especially back then. Yeah. Especially back then, great, like memorable moments in WCW were few and far between in the early years, and this is one that you're still talking about. So that tells you something.
Yeah.
And so one of the problems Ron Simmons had as champion is he didn't have a whole lot of big challengers against him. Like WCW was in a very transitional time, and they were really focusing a lot on the tag titles a lot, because your big tag team was Dr. Death and Terry Gordy. And Bill Watts was letting people go left and right. Luger was gone.
Who were some of his title defenses? Do you remember?
He was feuding with Cactus Jack at the time, Mick Foley. And
now, when we say this, he's not the Mick Foley we know today.
No, he's just Cactus Jack.
So, if this is a fair analysis, and I'm not throwing shade at a current champion, but like right now, Drew McIntyre is your Raw champion, but he's not wrestling big name dudes. He's not beating big. He's beating like the Sheamuses. He beat a retiring like an old Goldberg. Like he's not beating Roman clean. He's not like he's the champion, but they're not putting him over a guy like a Sting at this time. They're not putting him over their big baby face guys.
Well, he is a baby face, so they don't like to do baby face matches.
Yeah,
I think I think one of the things with Ron Simmons is he always was kind of in Sting's shadow a little bit, even though he was a champion. Like the only really big pay-per-view he did as champion was Halloween Havoc 92, which is in Philadelphia, by the way. And the big main event, the big thing they teased for that entire show was Sting against Jake Roberts, spin the wheel, make the deal. That was the one that went. That was the match that went on last. And Ron Simmons wrestled the Barbarian.
Yeah.
Where the Barbarian was his challenger.
That's how I see Sheamus's title run right now, where Sheamus is like your world champion, and the crowd, I mean, the piping crowd loves him.
You mean
McIntyre?
Drew McIntyre, but he's definitely being overshadowed by the other the other champion of the other brand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's other people who are going over Drew McIntyre when it comes to matches, and he's fun as champion, and as someone who definitely deserves it. And it's awesome to see a guy of a different nation wearing the championship, but it's just like they're also still not putting him up against a big name to really, like, Brock is probably his biggest, I would say, accomplishment as a champion, beating somebody.
Yeah.
I mean, if he walks out of Elimination Chamber, that's a big win for me. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because now he's beating 5 guys, unless he comes in very last and just knocks out one. But
no, Sheamus is there. They already said Sheamus is coming out last.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So yeah, I'm once again trying to put in perspective of.
And then, I mean, it wasn't all his fault, because at the time, at this time in '92 in WCW, your biggest heel was Rick Rude, and they were going to do the match. They're going to do Ron Simmons and Rick Rude at Starrcade, but Rick Rude was injured, so it wound up being Ron Simmons and Dr. Death. And Ron Simmons wins by DQ. And then the main event of that is the Battle Bowl. I think it was more to do with Bill Watts' booking was a little behind the time. Like, he was putting the world title match on in the middle of the show a lot. Yeah. Because that's what you do on a house show sometimes. Like, WWF would always do that. Hogan's match or whoever, Backlund, Bruno, their match would be in the middle of the show. So you could do an angle after the match, and then they could do intermission and say, by the way, when you come back next month, they're going to wrestle again in a cage match. And then you would all go to buy your tickets in advance for the next show.
Yeah. And then you want to buy the guy's shirt because you just seen him wrestle.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Gets me all the time. Every time I go to a show and I leave $80 less because I buy.
When we were watching that Camp Leapfrog show over the weekend, Alex or Maestro should have been in your front like in front of your house with a little pop-up.
I would have bought 14 t-shirts. if Leapfrog was a show that I could have purchased merchandise, I will say this: I am buying 2 t-shirts right off the bat from Camp Leapfrog that last show.
Effie and
I'm buying. You already got one, Effie. I mean, I do want a Still Life shirt, but if you haven't looked at Pro Wrestling Tees at Effie's shirts, he has some bangers. Mm-hmm. He has some really good shirts. I literally his name just left me. The hot dog guy.
Oh, Hot Dog Starks.
Because I put a tweet out. I said, because we were doing like live tweeting, watching the show. I said, someone give me a merch link, and I want to look at your stuff and possibly buy one. He's the only guy who sent me a link. Oh. So I'm buying a shirt off him. Actually, probably tonight. I'm gonna pick one up off him. He wrestles in a hot dog costume, and he has t-shirts that it's like the Undertaker, but like but it's an under.
Does he have a gimmick? I'm gonna assume he has like whatever his name is.
Yeah. And then he has like the King of Glizzies. He has that as a shirt. Yeah, the hot dog hat. He's really good. Yeah.
There's also a guy on Camp Leapfrog whose name was just Pancakes. So there's a lot of food related stuff there.
And they got cheeseburger too. Ain't he there?
Yeah. Well, he's no longer cheeseburger.
He's the world famous DB.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was doing some commentary on that show.
You should wrestle as a Farlow's sub.
Something.
So Ron Simmons, unfortunately,
Italian.
Unfortunately, Ron Simmons, 2 days after that match with Dr. Death at Starrcade, he does lose the title back to Vader, and really, it was unfortunately a lot like Kofi. It was right back down to the mid card for him.
Yeah,
he turned heel. He was wrestling for the U.S. title, a TV title. And he was gone. He was gone by 1994, and he winds up having a very short run in ECW. And he wrestled Shane Douglas. He did some of their shows in Florida. He wrestled 911. Speaking of Camp Leapfrog guys, and so yeah, that was really, it was like, wow, Ron Simmons. He was a champion like 2 years ago. And now he's like kind of doing nothing.
So, according to the Bruce Pritchard story, because I've been listening to a lot of those backstories. ECW at this time was kind of like a feeder program, like a silent partner.
Always was.
They always had an eye on ECW. So did WCW. Like ECW knew they were renting their guys basically. Like if somebody got big there, they were going to go somewhere else.
According to him, they would take a guy who was getting ready for TV in WWE, send him to ECW. They were giving ECW a weekly secret check.
This happened more a little bit later. I don't think this was happening too much at this point.
Oh, okay, because the way that Pritchard pitched the idea of Ron Simmons leaving WCW is he always called, like he couldn't call and say we want you.
Yeah.
But he would say, hey, just checking in on you. I know your contract coming up soon. If you ever need anything, call me.
Yeah.
And that day came and he called him and they set up this interview in a hotel and they thought they were being coy because they didn't think anybody would be there. And the owner of WCW, Sting, and a few other big name guys were there as well. And then they had the meeting with Ron and Ron signed is what the story is.
I mean, maybe WCW is looking to bring him back because they were in the middle of like the Monday Night War and things like that. But really, it was actually a little bit later in the Monday Night War. Like WCW was like on top at this point.
Yeah.
But Ron Simmons was done with WCW in September of '94. He was only in ECW for a few months, like from like '94 to like early '95, and then he didn't start in WWE or WWF until like after SummerSlam in '96.
Yeah.
Like he for the most part after he left WCW, he was out of wrestling for most of 2 years.
Yeah. From what they were kind of pitching, without saying it, for me anyway, on the Bruce Pritchard podcast, is they would send that guy to ECW and get the smart fans or the Mark fans, because ECW had a cult following. If you were there and you went over in ECW and then showed up at WWE, even though they hated the WWE brand, like when they would project that they hated WWE, they would always still carry over and watch that guy and support him. So
the guy they really did that and they did a good job with was Al Snow. Yeah. Al Snow was the guy that they really did that with. Because the head thing and all that he was a WWE guy at that point, and they just put him down there to get him.
He was also doing what was the other feeder program they had going on where he was there training people and he was doing the gimmick at house shows at those. The head gimmick, Al Snow.
Al Snow wasn't training until later on Ohio Valley.
Yeah.
That's much later.
They were saying something that Al Snow and Tom Pritchard were training people.
Yeah, that's way after that.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I wouldn't take too much stock in the stuff Bruce Pritchard says.
Yeah, sometimes Bruce and Bella.
Yeah. Conrad keeps him in check.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to better my knowledge in old school stuff, so I've been consuming so much of that stuff, and it just and then when I'm bringing it up, it all blends together.
Yeah, when I was training guys, that's probably like 2004 or somewhere around there.
Okay.
After he was done wrestling.
Because around the time that they're doing, like around the time Ron Simmons comes into WWF around '96, that was maybe a little after, around the time Al Snow was doing the New Rockers with Marty Jannetty.
Oh God.
Yeah, he was Leaf Cassidy.
Yeah.
And then he went down to W. And he was Avatar for a little bit.
Oh, yeah, and Shinobi real quick.
Yeah, Shinobi the Ninja. But yeah, so Ron Simmons is coming in 1996. He had, except for a few months there with ECW, he had been largely gone. Like he was just a guy you didn't hear about. Like obviously he's staying in good shape because he came into WWF looking pretty good. But one of the hottest guys in WWF at this point is Ahmed Johnson. And Ahmed Johnson,
yuck, was awful. He was awful.
Yeah, he
was. Say that, but he was over. Like he had a little bit of a Goldberg mystique to him.
Yeah,
that's why I never bought in. Never bought in. I seen him. I'm like, oh, he's, and I'm not saying this to be like putting his skin color, but he's black. He's Black Goldberg.
Well, he was before Goldberg though. So
but I'm saying like he's just this black.
This guy's
he's just this scary looking dude.
Yeah.
We thought he was Black Nikita Koloff.
Yeah, I mean, his wrestling skills weren't very good.
He was not good in the ring.
And his promos weren't.
Even young 11-year-old Tony was like, this guy something in him. Sucks in the ring.
He had a presence, but yeah, like to take a line from Bruce Pritchard, sometimes the goddamn bell's got a ring.
Yeah.
But at this point, he's the Intercontinental Champion, and he had just beaten Goldust, the King of the Ring, and he was just like, he was a big dude. He could do some things that look cool. Like I think he was one of the first guys that did the Brock Lesnar thing where he would jump up on the apron from the ground,
the vertical leap squat jump,
and it's Pro River Plunge, the Tiger Driver.
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
Didn't he have a storyline where he was knocked off the apron and then he hit his hand on the commentator's table and there was an open screw and it cut his hand? I remember that like a brief thing.
I don't
remember that. Yeah,
I don't remember, but maybe.
I don't know. I try to block a lot of
Spine Buster too.
I had his action figure.
Yeah, I had the action figure. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think the first angle I remember them doing.
Click.
I think the first angle I remember them doing with him was with Goldust, and it was one of those things where, like, obviously wrestling up until very, very recently, that's one of the coolest things about that Camp Love Frog show. Anything with remotely gay overtones had to be so bad back then, including what they did with Goldust, where Ahmed Johnson freaked out because Ahmed Johnson got knocked out in a match. I think with Vader, it was like a King of the Ring qualifying match. And he got knocked out. I think it might have been like a double count out or something. And he's on a stretcher, and Goldust goes in the back and gives him mouth to mouth.
Yeah.
And
I probably will say this again later when we get to Camp Leapfrog. But the thing that I really like about Camp Leapfrog, and I know other promotions are probably doing it, but someone who's openly gay doesn't have to be a joke character.
Or a heel because they're gay.
Or they could just be them. Like they could be who they are, but also be gay.
Yeah, even if they are a heel. Like Killian's a heel there, and him being gay is not a part of his character. Like it's mentioned in passing, but he's not heel because he's gay. He's heel because he's an asshole in there. Like that's a big difference.
I just love the fact that they just I like when a promotion can take intergender matches and just make them feel like a match.
Yeah.
Or you see a guy who maybe you can see someone who's trans or gay or anything, and they are proud of it, and they're putting it out there, and they're proud of what they are and who they are, who they should be. But it's not where in previous wrestling, like a Goldust was a straight guy playing a gay guy, but it was more of a joke. You know what I mean?
Well, it's not so much a joke. It's more like
that's mind game.
Yeah,
it was definitely a reflection of like where the world was, or at least where America was at that time. So obviously where we're at now in 2021, we've seen much more progression with that. So like we have to take that with a grain of salt. Like it's not like WWE was just that was just their idea. It wasn't.
And everything we're doing.
I was a Goldust fan. I still am a Goldust fan, but I don't know if his portrayal was to do what he was doing, but it put a light on where it was like, okay, he's different from people, and I accept the fact he's different. I didn't know what was behind that. Like I liked it. You know what I mean?
This was early on in that, and with Ahmed Johnson and Razor Ramon, like this in the very beginning of it, it was always he's gonna hit on a guy, and that makes him a bad guy, and that makes the other guy good for wanting to beat him up.
Yeah.
So it was
yes.
And so the reason we're even bringing up Ahmed Johnson is because after he beats Goldust for the Intercontinental title at King of the Ring, he's attacked on Raw by Ron Simmons, who is with Sonny now, and he is in a gladiator outfit with this weird-looking blue helmet. He looks like a giant blue condom, and he's Farouk Assad, a gladiator.
Yeah,
a gladiator man.
Looking costume.
And the whole premise of this is that Sonny and him were going to have on-screen kisses. And she decided she was against it, not because of who he was or his race, because she was not attracted to him. Oh. That's what she said in her book, which
I can kind of believe that. Yeah.
But
now,
she was.
If he looked like Denzel Washington, maybe she would.
But she was supposedly hanging out with Sabu and broom closets. So.
No, but I don't think they were doing sex. They might have been doing something else.
Yeah, I mean, if Ron had Quaaludes, or maybe she would have hung out with him more.
I don't know, but Ron Simmons came in with an outfit that would have fit 1989 WWE
and Pritchard's it's not a rib gimmick.
Yeah,
said that the reason they put the bandana on him and they made him wear all that stuff is because they were trying to hide his receding hairline and make him look younger.
Yeah, to which Conrad said Hulk Hogan.
Yes, and he 100% right.
Yeah.
But they also said that, and I never knew this, that when they would edit Hogan's matches, they would edit them. It took them longer to edit Hogan's matches because they would never
more hair, but like he was
they would never show.
So
they would never show him at an angle where his bald spot was showing.
Yeah,
and then when they would do photo shoots, it would cost them so much money to add hair to him in magazines,
which I believe. Yeah,
it's like that movie Splash on Disney Plus. It's one of the few things they edited. Where I guess there was a thing where you could see like Daryl Hannah rear nudity, I guess it was, and they edited her. They gave her like CGI hair, so her backside is covered up. She's going into the water.
Yeah, if you are looking for
nobody's ever seen an ass before.
For a good documentary, Barlows is saying check out the Birth of Farouk and on the APA documentary. If you haven't seen it, must see. It's probably on the network. Go check that out.
It is. I actually watched it, I think, yesterday. It is a really good doc. It's a short one, but it is still really good.
Yeah.
But very, very soon after this debut, and the big thing to mention here too is when he comes in. He injures Ahmed Johnson. Ahmed Johnson had like a kidney injury. He was in the hospital. Ahmed Johnson was always either getting injured or injuring somebody. And so this time it was his turn to get injured. And while Ahmed Johnson's on the shelf, Farouk starts the Nation of Domination, which was very much a play on the Black Panther Party. It was very much a play on the Nation of Islam.
I absolutely love this stable. I loved it. This for me, this is where Ahmed shined. For me, like I loved APA. Farouk, I'm sorry. This is where Farouk shined.
Ahmed did join later,
and I was a huge fan of this stable. Mm-hmm. This stable has not only just great memories, but birthed just really good talent. Like there was a lot of talent in this stable.
Well, this is like version 1.0 of the Nation of Domination, where like they tried to make it clear because I think they didn't want to go too hard into it with it being like a quote unquote black militant stable.
Yeah.
Where this is when they had PG-13 wrapping them to the ring, 2 white guys.
Yeah.
In fact, one of them we talked about his dad on the last episode, Bill Dundee. This is Jamie Dundee was in there.
JC Ice.
JC Ice, yeah. You had at this point you had Crush, you had Savio Vega, you had
Crush. His prison Crush. He was fresh out of prison. Now he hated the world.
Yeah.
And then Savio Vega.
You know who was my favorite member of the Nation Domination?
D-Lo?
Clarence Mason.
Clarence Mason.
Owen Hart.
Well, that was
because it was hilarious.
Yeah.
That was much later.
I was like, let's put the white guy in there.
And then when The Rock was making his change where he's giving everyone Rolexes and then he gives Farouk a photo of himself. Yeah. It was just such a good stable. I love the Nation Domination. I remember I collecting the toys then and playing with them. Mm-hmm. I remember I was like, I need to have every member. And then it was like I got to like who was it on the stable I wasn't a huge fan of?
Godfather.
No, I liked Kama. Who was it?
Mark Henry?
I think it was Henry. I think it was Mark Henry. I was like, I don't need him. I was like, yeah. But then Mark won me over later, but like I wanted everyone's Nation toy. Like I just So he's at Owen Hart. Yeah. There it is.
One of the memorable matches at this time was at WrestleMania 13. You had the Chicago Street Fight, where it was a Nation of Domination. I think at that point it was Crush, Savio, and Farouk lost to LOD and Ahmed Johnson in the Chicago Street Fight.
Yeah, and Ahmed come out wearing the
shoulder pads.
He looked awesome. I was like, wow, it looks awesome. I think he had a 2x4.
He had a great look.
Yeah, it just sucked.
Not amazing in the ring.
And if you want to see his promo, you go and you type Ahmed Johnson Warzone promo.
Oh,
there's a video game Warzone. They play a little promo. It says, go. And I'm like, what?
Did you ever see? I don't know if they're still on YouTube. The Fun with Ahmed videos where they put the fake subtitles under it. It's like Bozo Soup and Stars. The Sand Ripper.
To be fair, just to throw shade at WCW, the Nitro, what was it, the old Nitro games or whatever?
The promos? Sometimes they're pretty cool in the beginning.
The Kevin Nash ones are fun. Don't pick me. You do not have the dexterity to be me.
Nitro and Thunder. I wish I had them.
I wish more video games brought that promo where it had a little promo.
That'd be awesome. Speaking of video games, WrestleMania came out. They announced that, or when it comes out, they're going to make a stand-up arcade.
Yes,
$800.
Yeah, $800 for the arcade. We have someone joining the show. Kilowatt hanging out with us here.
Hey,
what's going on, guys?
We are at Farouk in the Nation of Domination. That's where we're at now, and we're kind of making a quick little segue here. And then I don't know them all, but the achievement list for Retromania has leaked as well.
Yeah, and the first 2 DLC. DC. Did I say that right? DLC characters. Yeah. One is a world champion, has never been in a video game before, and one is a guy from the 80s. I think.
Yeah. So there is more characters coming. I think the way this game's going to be is if you order it, a lot of people are criticizing saying the roster's weak and it's small, but their vision is to not make WrestleMania 2. Yeah. It's going to be a game they add on to for the next 10 years, which is really exciting. I have a lot of hope for that game.
You know what that means? I can't wait for that Can't Bleed Frog DLC.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Can't Bleed Frog WrestleMania. Yeah. Let's make it happen. Yeah.
That's exciting.
Listen, I mean, we'll make some phone calls. We'll text the guy. We'll say some stuff.
We'll give him the old Dave Dahl, Daredevil Dave Dahl campaign.
Yeah, we'll Dave Dahl him. We'll fucking we'll just relentlessly harass him until he puts him in the game. We love you, Dave. But what was I saying here? Oh yeah, so that game does come out in a couple weeks now, right? February, or is it next month?
This is
in a month. I think it's like the 26th.
Yeah, so
that would be next week.
And the guy who made the game, once again, if you're all about supporting PA, The guy who made the game is from Pennsylvania. He lives up by State College. So if you're
Pennsylvania.
so we're getting a cool.
He's been on the show going by his accent. I think he was a little closer to Philly at one point.
Yeah. He was on the show one time. We had a great conversation, but that was the time we didn't have great technology or equipment, and we heard the conversation amazing. You guys didn't hear shit. So we had an opportunity to interview this guy before anyone had really access to Retromania.
Yeah. We brought him back though. We brought him back I think that happened before I was on the show, and then we brought him back.
Yeah, we had him on a few times
in person for the first phone call when no one was able to hear it except for us.
Yeah, it was a great phone call. It was an awesome phone call. Just take our word for it. But all right, let's get to the Nation Domination.
So actually, we're getting to the end of the Nation of Domination here because as we mentioned earlier, they did kind of split her off into a different group because Savio Vega goes and forms Los Boricuas. Crush goes and forms the Disciples of Apocalypse. You have your gang wars.
I also liked Savio Vega. I was a Savio fan.
I never liked Savio.
I liked him.
I had to watch that guy wrestle 4 times in one night. I talk about this every time we talk about Savio Vega.
I never liked. I thought the Boricuas was stupid, not because they were from Spanish. They were stupid.
Yeah, I like Savio Vega's style. I don't know. I was into him.
He was okay, I guess.
Like someone's dad got in there with his high pants and.
I don't know. I dug it. I dug it. 13-year-old Tony was into Savio Vega.
But eventually, Farouk does get pushed out of the Nation of Domination, and he's kind of aimless for a little bit, and he winds up getting abducted.
He does
by
the last name there too.
Farouk Assad, right?
Yeah, he drops it's just Farouk then
at
some point.
And he gets abducted by the Undertaker's minions, and so does Bradshaw, and they come back as the Acolytes. They have symbols on their chest, and they're just this big bruising tag team.
I know it. I loved it.
Which I was very into the APA later. I thought that was a very fun gimmick. Love
the Accolades too.
But I always just like that Bradshaw would call it with his accent. Would call them the Aguilites. The Aguilites.
I would love to now. Because we're doing Truth Behind Illusion, I would love to find out what those logos meant.
Symbols, yeah. Who found them and wrote them
The
on?
funniest thing is when
symbols.
I know what Brian's gonna say right now.
Yeah. Oh, Andy totally knows where I'm going. Yeah, Stevie Richards, when he came in, because he would do that thing and we would dress up like other people, and he comes out as the Acolytes. And he has like tic-tac-toe stuff on his pants, and he has UPN, the old UPN logo on his chest. It was
that was on UPN at the time. I was like, that is so great because it's the triangle and the square and the circle.
And you can get your own Tornado Tag NWO logo and just throw it on a blue T-shirt, and now you have your BWO version of TTP. That's available right now on TeePublic. Go check that out.
And if you want, you can probably get a UPN shirt on.
They have a lot on TeePublic.
I want to get a WP. If I'm getting UPN, I don't know, was it UPN or WB that had Homeboys from Outer Space?
I think that was maybe it was UPN. I was a big fan of the Married with Children
Unhappily Ever After.
That was fantastic.
When we first uploaded our stuff to TeePublic, we uploaded it all, and I was like, I'm so excited! This is awesome. And then I got a letter saying that all your logos have been taken down for copyright infringement. I'm like, what? Have you been on your own site?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I bought this Beavis and Butthead knockoff shirt on TeePublic.
You can buy
Beavis and Butthead are dressed up like the Legion of Doom.
Yeah.
That's not licensed.
You could buy NFL and superhero gear on that
any cartoon character.
And nobody says, and our stuff got taken down. I sent an email. I'm like, this is bullshit. And she's like, I don't know what happened. You're back up. And I was like, all right, cool. We like you again.
The APA, I think they're better known at that point for their run as the APA. And then
especially when they had the backstage gambling segment.
Yeah. And they were just
with the door. Come through the door.
Yeah. And they were fucking killing people. Like when they would wrestle, they would beat the shit out of people.
But that's like, doesn't Bubba Ray say something about that Farouk asked him, Ron Simmons said, kid, you know how to work a 2x4, don't you? He's like, yes, sir. And he's like, well, I got in there. I hit him as hard as I could with the 2x4. And then I ran.
Yeah. At that time in wrestling, the tag team division was so much fucking fun. You had the Dudleys, the Hardy Boys, the Edge and Christian. You had I mean the biker gang wasn't good, but they were a fun stable. You had them, the DOA.
Yeah, the Hollies.
Yeah. The Hollies.
Road Dogg and Billy Gunn then.
Road Dogg, Billy Gunn, like DX.
Head Cheese. No.
Head Cheese, yeah. Head Cheese.
So many fun, like the Headbangers. The Headbangers were there at that time. Like there was so much fun tag teams, and like it was, I don't know.
That's when they cared a little more about tag wrestling. Then
that is fucking awesome.
Didn't care at all. Which is still going today.
That is one of the things I really do appreciate about the wrestling scene in this area right now is The tag, just independently, the tag team scene is very robust. It's one of my favorite things with PPW. I can't believe Frog does a great job with it. Just in general, this area has the Team Blue and Gold. You have one of the better tag team wrestlers in the area sitting across the table from you, Tony.
There he is. I'm looking at him.
I love that.
Yeah. I like I said, I'm into. You put a guy in face paint or a mask or just put a weird gimmick around it. I'm sold. The main event, man. I'm obsessed with those guys. Real quick, have you seen photos of Jay Lyon lately? He's huge.
No, I don't believe I have.
I
was trying to think, have I?
He has been putting work in the gym. He's jacked.
Well, there's some people that are working out, and there's some people that are sitting down.
Well, Jay Lyon is using his time wisely because that dude is getting big, like in good way. Like,
yeah.
Like he's slimmed down, but he's getting
the definition of his arms. Like it's very impressive.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah, main event means business this time around. When wrestling comes back, I mean, you can see them at Camp Leapfrog as well. But they mean business. PPW World Tag Team Champions right now, but they
what are they? I totally forgot.
What?
I forgot. What are they? What tag champions?
They're the champions currently right now.
I was not aware.
Yeah. And they're House of Glory guys, which I've never had someone come out of House of Glory that I wasn't a fan of so far. So they come from a good camp, from Amazing Red.
And then around like 2002, 2003 was when they dropped the Farouk name and just called him Ron Simmons because there was an Al Qaeda camp, Al Farouk, so they just didn't want to use that name. And
sorry to interrupt again, but WWE will drop a name like this, like Riddle to just a Matt, or Mustafa Ali to Ali, or Farouk because they found out there's a terrorist organization that nobody would have known about unless you would have changed the name. But they don't even watch another competitor's stuff so they can say, "Oh, he was really good there." As this name, just try to keep it. You know what I mean? Like they find the stupidest shit. Like
L.A. Knight.
Yeah.
Oh no. Yeah. Oh no.
Yeah. Great example.
Someone sat down and said, "That's good."
I watched him on NXT and I was like, this guy's fucking charisma's through the roof.
Yeah,
it
is.
I'm like, why is he so good? Where did I see him? And then I was like, I watched him at PPW wrestle fucking
Johnny Impact.
Because he was from Impact that time. They went
that match was awesome. And he, from the moment he came out and signed autographs to the moment he got on the mic to every time he was showcased, he stole the fucking show.
Like, why couldn't it be Eli Knight?
Yeah,
not LA. Like, what was the LA Park? It's like,
I don't think it's gonna stick. I think the backlash of the internet will change it before he debuts.
I don't see him being there long.
Really?
Yeah.
You think he gets called up, or you think he goes somewhere else?
Well, if he gets called up, it's over.
Yeah,
probably.
So charismatic.
Yeah.
But
they'll make him a stupid manager, and then he won't be on TV. He'll be like Aleister Black. I'm gonna pay you to sit at home.
Dumb. All right, go ahead, Ryan. I'm sorry. Another side tangent.
That is just
TTP ADHD hour here.
So this is toward the end of Ron Simmons' career. They did break up the APA for a bit when they did the first roster split. Bradshaw went to Raw. Ron Simmons was on SmackDown. He teamed with Devon for a little bit when they brought back the tag team titles. They were in the tournament together. But then they were like, hey, we made a mistake splitting up all these tag teams. And they put Devon back on Raw. They put Bradshaw on SmackDown. They reunited the Dudleys. They reunited the APA. But Ron was getting ready to retire, and Bradshaw was getting ready to be a main eventer. So around 2003, 2004, they did the angle where JBL becomes JBL, and Ron Simmons kind of goes off to the wayside. And that's when you get the Ron Simmons you have now, where very, very sporadic wrestling appearances, but mainly he is just coming in to say damn. And he's had a cottage industry and probably sold a lot of damn T-shirts just with that one word.
Yeah, and I think a lot a lot of newer fans who watch wrestling are like, oh, the guy's that he's funny, he says damn, but like
the damn guy
at one point in time, he's not only a badass in professional in college sports, badass as a wrestler, but he's one of it depending on what timeline you look at, he's your first African American champion.
Yeah. If you look at like those firmly entrenched organizations, he is the first. Like you can argue Bobo Brazil, Bearcat Wright. All great people who had all great like talents who had a big place in history.
We'll probably say your first televised,
major world champion.
I mean, if you ask most people who's the first black world champion in wrestling, they're going to say Ron Simmons.
Yeah. Anything else you want to tie this up with?
That's pretty much everything. Did he go? Is he in the Hall of Fame? He's got to be in the Hall of Fame.
I believe so. Yeah,
he's in multiple college sports Hall of Fame and the WWE Hall of Fame.
So Alex, you had a sorry. You have something else there, Brian? I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was just going to mention. 2012. He was put in the WWE Hall of Fame. One of the other very cool things is it was a goofy angle when they did a thing where Teddy Long was getting married to, I think, Crystal Marshall. They did a few Teddy Long wedding angles. But Ron Simmons was his best man, and that was the one time they did bring in Butch Reed. And Doom was like on screen again one more time.
Awesome.
Yeah. So you had an opportunity, Alex, to hang out with Ron. Lead us up to that day you find out it's happening, and then we'll play the clip here.
Yeah.
First time we're on the podcast. This is exciting.
That's awesome. Me and Penguin, we had the opportunity to split the cost of bringing in Ron Simmons to PPW, and I got to sit with him for the meet and greet, and that was fun. I mean, he's a really just a distinguished guy, but an all around like great guy. One of the first guys at PPW that came in there that I personally got to witness sit all night behind the curtain and watch every match. So he watched every match, and if you asked him, he would critique you and give you some advice. Definitely, he had some loyal fans that have did the meet and greet with him at other places and conventions, to which there were two different fans that brought him gifts. And every time they see him, they bring him some sort of a gift. I'm not going to say what the gift was because it was somewhat inappropriate, but they were pictures of some sort.
Female fans.
Yes.
Nice. Nice. Damn.
But we had asked him, because usually our deal was to get an interview with these guys that we brought in. And we asked him if he would mind doing the podcast. And he's like, man, I don't want to do no podcast. Am I okay doing that voice? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's like, I don't do no podcast, man, because people try to mess up your words. And I'm like, listen, I want to talk about one thing only, and that's how you felt when you won that championship, and what that was like. He's like, all right, man, well, I'll give you like 5 minutes. I'm like, all right, cool. And then we're sitting down there. I'm like, hey, man, can I get like a damn moment? He's like, listen, if I give everybody somebody a damn, everybody's going to want a damn. I can't do it. And I'm like, all right, I get you. I respect that. But then again, he did the damn at the end of it anyway. Like, he's a jokester. He'll mess with you. Yeah, he's messing with me. To which I asked him, I'm like, listen, I don't know what the term is that you prefer to use, African American or black. How do I refer to that? And he's like, well, African American. Okay. So in the interview, you'll see I say African American, and he's like, black. I'm like, son of a bitch. So a lot of fun, great guy, and I would love to get to sit down with him again.
Yeah. Now, when you said behind the curtain, your PPW help out there a lot, do a lot of cool things with PPW. You were able to sit with a lot of guys. Now, when you say sitting, like, they do autograph signings. So if you're at PPW, you've ever been to an independent show or just PPW in general, you go through the curtain as if you are a wrestler, which I think is cool. I think it's a cool thing that they do to let people kind of come through the curtain a little bit. And then you walk down and you do a full circle around the ring, and they have tables set up with all of the guests who are there that night, and you can do autograph signings. You have been fortunate enough to sit with a few different people and watch them interact with fans. So where does Ron sit on a list of people you've seen interact with fans? I've never really got to experience that. I may have just to kind of, because I'm not really interested in meeting the guy. I don't know. I'm weird about that. Like, I don't want to bother them, but I kind of used to sneak over to you to have a conversation with you. But I'm more interested to see how they interact with other people. Is it like a voyeur, I guess you can say?
We did kind of inadvertently get to spend like a half hour with Devon that one time, but it's because Enzo was holding up the line.
Oh yeah, Devon got really mad at me. That's when I told him that he needs to figure out the fucking tag team division.
I don't know why.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't mind shooting on things. Devon was there, I believe, gratis. Out of respect for what was going on with Big Cass.
Yes.
So
no, Devon was not a bad dude. I just kind of insulted him by making fun of the main roster's tag team
lack of
their division. and Braun, and at this time Braun Strowman has just won the championship with an 8-year-old and has destroyed their entire tag team division. And I'm asking him when his sons are coming up, And he told me his sons are training in Japan, and they'll probably be coming in NXT
they're on
soon.
AEW recently.
They've
done AEW
stuff, yeah.
And probably a better move, because I told him, I said, great, I'm excited to see your boys kind of come through and be that next generation. It would really suck for them to work their asses off to get to the main roster, to get squashed by Braun Strowman in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And this is the time they have the Revival, and they're not doing shit with them. Like, so I was kind of offended, like, not towards him in general. I didn't know he was a head writer for that. You know what I mean? Like, but he obviously took offense. But we all know,
but
behind
if
scenes,
he does come up with good ideas,
it all goes through Vince.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's not. It wasn't him being a dick to me, but.
Who can say they pissed off Devon? You know what I mean?
Who said they're stupid enough to even attempt to piss off Devon? You know what I mean? Like,
I'd rather piss off Devon than Bubba Ray. I think.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
If I had to.
Yeah. But Devon's the one getting the tables to put me through it. So, but yeah. So Ron Simmons, like the experience of sitting down with him, and
if you ask me where he ranks, I want to say he is. As far as like a personal connection with me, he's number one. As far as fan interaction, he's number two, only to Boogeyman.
Really?
Yeah.
My number one is Enzo.
I didn't really even get to meet him. He was in the same building. I didn't really get to talk to him.
For how many people shot on him and said he's a piece of shit, and they hate him, and they hate the fact when he showed up at PPW, he was also there with Ace Austin, Frank Mir, Rhino.
Austin Aries, not Ace Austin.
I'm sorry, Austin Aries. I apologize. And Devon Dudley. And that line was stuck at his table, and he had interaction with and some people were even like, hey man, I'm going to move it along. I'm holding up. And he goes, bro, you paid for me. You're here to see me. I'm the boss here tonight. You're here to see. He sat there with every single fan and had a great interaction. Dude, he really won me over that night. I thought he was fantastic. But yeah,
that's how everyone should be.
The second for me, Frank Mir that night was really good. Was super cool with the fans. Terrifying, Frank Mir. I mean, really, really, really nice guy. But like, I shook his hand. I was like, you know how many people?
And he's tall. He's very tall.
This hand I'm shaking I've watched him break bones with this hand. You know what I mean? Like, I've watched him snap Nogueira's arm with that hand I shook. Like, that's fucking. He's a scary dude. Like, and then the next guy who was just super personable, the Blue Meanie.
No, okay,
That's my
nice.
three. Yeah, but let's real quick. Let's play this clip. I can't believe we're doing this. This is so cool. Huge thank you to once again to you and Paul for the Wicked Turtle Network. We're gonna play a Wicked Turtle clip real quick. We're gonna watch. Now we know the backstory. Now we're gonna see your reaction to all this. So here we go, real quick.
Nice.
We're sitting here with Hall of Famer Ron Simmons. Thanks for being here, Ron.
Oh, man, listen, it's an honor for me to be here. You know, I mean, listen, I have to start by saying this, and I've had the good fortune of traveling now that I've retired from the ring, right? So this is especially good for me because I get this opportunity to come back and say thank you to all the people for over the years.
And we want to say thank you to you as well. Yeah. We very much appreciate it, and it is such an honor to get to see the guys who have made it big get to come around to these, small towns and meet the real people,
Yeah, well, without the real people, bro, there is no professional wrestling. Exactly. There's no Ron Simmons, or any of the Hall of Famers, So, hey, this is good for me.
I've always wondered about probably the biggest moment in your career when you won the heavyweight championship. Now, that is deemed you won it as the first African American to win the black. Right. So with that, I mean, I watched the match time and time again, and your reaction to winning it. Flailing around on the mat and just like all around.
No, that's not an act.
No, I know.
That's real.
Exactly.
Okay, let me get something straight. And I get to ask this all the time, all right? I don't care what anyone says about this business, whether you call it fake or however you want to look at it from that standpoint. When you put in as much time as I and others have in this business, that's what you strive to get.
Exactly.
Okay? That's the top of that's the top of the heap.
Yeah.
That's the pinnacle.
And that's what I mean. I mean that you could see that moment
it's a real
meant
moment.
so much.
And it's a real moment, especially, putting emphasis on not just because, of it being that it was historically in the making, being the first black world heavyweight champion, right? It was a spontaneous thing there, okay? It was real. You understand me in that sense, So my reaction is real. The crowd reaction is real. You might just say, hey, it's a real moment in professional wrestling.
Exactly. With that, I have to ask, did you know in that moment, hey, I'm the first? Or was that something that came up after? Somebody was like, hey, did you know you were first?
No, absolutely did not. That didn't sink in, man, and the magnitude of it didn't sink in until, I'd have to say it really didn't sink in until perhaps months later, until people, actually started coming up to me, not only black, okay, but whites and of all other nationalities, say, hey, man, you know what? Thank you, for just inspiring me in that way. It inspired me not just in professional wrestling, but to do other things in business, and in life, So that's when it set in on me. Here's the thing, man. I come along with, look, hard work was pushed, okay, all right, and that's what made it successful. Everything I've done it to the best of my ability.
Absolutely.
Okay, everything I've done, okay, and I've had people along the way to help me, but people are there to help young people even these days, man. If the one thing that I think the young people these days have the worst thing with doing, yet it's so simple, all right, here's the thing, in my opinion, that they find so difficult to do, all right, and I'm going to show you the gesture that it is, okay? And this is the start to them doing something with their life, all right? Watch this. Hold it.
All right.
Here's what they need to do. Get off their ass.
Absolutely.
That's the first step. Thank you, man. I can't tell you what a pleasure this has been for me, and I look forward to coming back, I look forward to coming back to this organization. You got a great thing going here with PPW, so I look forward to it, and thank you for having me.
Thank you. Guys, remember, like, share, subscribe, and see first for all things wicked.
Damn.
They did it at the end.
Oh my God!
It does have what a voice on.
What a voice! What a voice!
Just so captivating.
Get off your damn ass.
Yeah, I love it, man. What a good fucking human, man. What? Now
I want a Ron Simmons alarm clock. Like they have the different celebrities that can wake you up on the Amazon Echo. I don't want to say its name because it's on right now, right next to me. And if you could have that as your wake up, get off your ass.
I want him as my GPS. Turn right on South Street. Yeah.
Get off your damn ass.
Police officer 2 miles ahead. Damn.
Step on the gas.
You missed your exit. You turn. Damn.
That was kind of hot there. He's like, no, it was real. It was real.
Yeah. No, I had this conversation with you, and I've had this conversation with many independent people now. When people always say, it's fake, it's this, it's that, you know what I mean? And they try to diminish this art and this craft that so many of us love so dearly. But when a company, whether it be a small independent company or a major television company, when they put a championship on you, they're showing you that they respect your work, they respect the hard work you put in, and they want you to carry them like you're representing their company. That's a big fucking deal.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I don't think a whole lot of people really look at pro wrestling as a brand. Like a lot of people notice pro wrestling as like business or as the sport, but it really is a brand. And that brand chose to put him at the top of their figurehead. Like that is such a big deal. And that's why it makes sense for all of his emotions and the emotions to be in the crowd to be real.
Yeah. One of the things that definitely stood out for the interview too is where he said, this is an honor for me. Because if it wasn't for the small guys and these small promotions, there would be no professional wrestling, And I think a lot of wrestling fans just get caught up in what they see on TV and don't even realize that there's a whole world of independent that's probably within a 15, 20 mile radius of them that they're missing out on.
Yeah, because they're just oblivious to it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I've noticed that, like, people on Twitter, like, right now, and this is something that, like, trends every so often, they like to use the term that the indies are picked dry. The indies are never picked dry because...
Watch Camp Leapfrog, and you will 100% see that the indies are still fucking thriving.
There's always good guys. I mean, there's always shit guys, too. But yeah, there's always talent.
Yeah, I mean, Outbreak.
Yeah,
Outbreak.
a lot of it is really how you utilize the talent you have and how you highlight people's strengths and abilities rather than like just putting them out there blind and sometimes letting them figure it out. Sometimes there's talent that needs to be guided and mentored. And, it takes a good promoter and a good team to highlight that. It's sometimes you just get trained and you're thrown out into that world and you're fending for yourself. So yeah, it's never picked dry. It's just you need the right people to shine the right talent.
Yeah, and Paul joining us. He said one of the greatest moments, person/performer I've met or interacted with. Super cool, man. Great moment. Like I said, like support your local indie. I know it's hard to do right now. I know PPW has the best of going on right now. Outbreak is filming. Go check out Outbreak. Camp Leapfrog is doing some cool things. High Tension is going to be filming soon. There's a lot of pro wrestling that's still happening and independent-wise that you can support. And a great way to do that is if you check the links below, there's a company called IWTV. It is $10 a month, and they have insane amount of wrestling independent content, old and new.
Yeah.
They're still putting out content. If you use the code, if you use code Leapfrog, you get 5 free days. Now, one of the things that we're going to talk about right now, just recently happened, was Love Frog. Brian, it's just called Love. Well, it's Camp Leapfrog's Love Frog. Yeah, Camp Love Frog. So we're going to talk about Love Frog. We're going to run through the card. We will say who won. So if you want to cut out now, completely understand. Thank you guys for hanging out.
Spoilers.
Even if you do listen, to me, I think this is enough where you're going to know who wins, but the way it goes down, you're gonna still really enjoy.
Wrestling's a little different. It's like if you spoil Star Wars and say, "Oh, Kylo Ren kills Han Solo," and then it ruins it for you going to see a movie.
What?
Say, hey, so and so wins the title. Yeah, movie that came out 4 or 5 years ago.
Gonna watch
so and so wins the title. Like I want to watch him win the title.
Yeah,
it's a little bit different.
So let's break down Love Frog, and Brian, you have it pulled up there.
I certainly do. Well, let's start with what you could have watched even without an IWTV subscription. One of the things that leaked early was the tadpole match where Philly Mike Swanson, speaking of Outbreak Wrestling, he defeated Sabre Dorado. You also had right before Camp Love Frog, Cayman MK beat Francis Wright, who very entertaining. I love the chants for Francis Wright. You had after he took off his tinfoil hat, read his mind. Was a chant that was going on. Earth is round was another one going on there.
So very cool name. Finishing move, the MK Ultra.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which we talked about on Truth Behind Illusion. Yeah,
nice.
And then you also had the main match there, and these other two were the open swim matches that were on Facebook Live right before. By the way, there was an excellent also interview on the Facebook Live. Kind of like a face-to-face with Sam Laterna and Still Life and Effie that really set the table very, very well.
She does a fantastic job. Big fan of hers. She does a great job interviewing people. I see people like her and I say, man, I got to fucking step my game up. Like she's just really good at what she does. And real quick, to kind of go back to the Ron Simmons thing, Alex, you did a great job. You kept your composure. If I was probably sitting across from Ron Simmons asking those questions, butthole would have been tight. Real tight.
Yeah,
I'd have been really.
I think I was prepped a little bit by getting to sit next to him for a couple hours that night. Otherwise, he to me was one of the I'm not always nervous meting somebody, but he was.
I would have needed a beer too.
I was
100% needed a beer too.
I was absolutely in awe with him. He had you can tell that he has this kind of like a grandfather feel. Like immediately when you're with him, like you're like in this calm space, and it's just really easy to talk to him.
But you know what he is. He's a fucking man. Like that's he is a fucking man. You know what I mean? Like he fucking can kill you with his hands. You know what I mean? Like
one of the things we didn't really cover is he does have a reputation for being a very legitimately tough guy.
He's unfuckwithable.
Yeah, like no fucking chance.
The Meister Anderson Scott's trolling the comments, by the way, trying to get over the fact that Frank Mir wanted to choke me out.
Well, Frank Mir wanted to choke you out because he said just because the way you're proportioned, it's very hard to get at that neck, and you have the beard. I think Frank Mir was just like, I wonder if I can get him in a choke. Yeah. And I would have been like, go fuck yourself. I'm staying away from you because you will fucking murder me because you're Frank Mir.
At 100% took it.
Have you ever seen? All right,
Frank Mir, why would you not?
Right?
Actually, now thinking
Why
of
would
it,
you not get choked by Frank Mir? Let me think.
Yeah.
Because death.
There's a video where Frank Mir was doing the EA MMA game.
Okay.
He was helping with the actually it might have been the UFC one, but he was helping with the motion cap. And the guy, they're like, yo, when Frank Mir comes in, we're gonna put all the things on him, and you're gonna tell him to do his body motions, but you're gonna tell him to do the hokey pokey. They're gonna put your left foot in, put your left foot out, put your left foot in, and then shake it. Right.
God.
But the guy didn't know that he was the one being set up, and Frank Mir was in on it. So when Frank Mir goes like through 4 or 5 motions and goes, "You think you're fucking funny, bro?" and then comes at the guy, and the guy literally needed new shorts. Yeah. And then Frank's like, "I'm just fucking with you, man." Like that just goes to show you how terrifying. I mean, super nice guy, but I wouldn't want to fight him. All right, back to Love Rug.
So
murder talk. Let's get to love. Yeah.
I'm not even plugging that one this week. One more match in the open swim here. You had the Boar with Erica Lee defeating Violence in a very good match on the open swim. And then
big fan of Violence. I like Violence.
Now, did the open swim go for like half an hour or so?
I think 45 minutes.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good free show.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2 matches. Yeah, you had a very, very good interview segment.
It made you want to. It made you want to go to Camp Leapfrog to watch the show.
Yeah.
Like they're like the way she did that interview with FA and Still Life, where she, if you didn't subscribe because of that, you're a psycho.
No,
she did a fantastic job.
And Effie and Still Life did too. Like Effie's being just enough of a dick that you're like, hey, wait a second. And Still Life, she's so likable in it too. And then Effie has like an S&M Dungeon Zoom background. It's hilarious. That whole thing was great. It was awesome. And then to the show proper on independentwrestling.tv, our opening match. It's a speed dating 5-way scramble where the winner.
Real quick, you're forgetting something. They started the show. They started the show with a great opening music number by the Maestro, and even before that, this show was opened by the ultimate lovester, the Dude Love.
The ultimate
Dude Love started the show off, giving a huge plug, and whoever that kid is, who's the dude don't like the way you're looking at him.
Did he say "I'll have mercy"?
I don't think he said "I'll have mercy." I don't think he said it. I don't remember, but yeah. And just the kind of behind the scenes we were kind of talking about in the show, that was done by a fan of Leapfrog, right? They paid for that cameo and sent it to you.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, it's really cool.
Cool, yeah.
I don't. Are you willing to divulge who it was, or is that like keeping behind close?
Yeah, I don't know if that's out there, but it is somebody that is more than just a fan that we've actually let produce the. I don't know if you've seen the Gina show segment we did with her and Hermit Crab, but we actually that person also produced that for us.
Cool. Now, before we get into the first match here, I also want to say this is the first time I ever did live tweeting during an event, where you tweet and hashtag, and then you could follow the hashtag, and it's kind of like an open chat room on Twitter where you can interact with not only the people who are watching it, but the wrestlers who are part of it and the people who are part of the program.
Usually that's not a thing because usually it's a live show and they're at the show, but this is a pre-tape, so
it was a awesome experience. It was such a cool experience. It made me fall in love with Twitter, and I think not only that, it made me more of a fan of Leapfrog. Just the fact of the talent tweeting while they're watching it with everybody.
Tony and I were working the Tornado Tag Twitter account like we were the Killer Bees.
Yeah.
We didn't know who was firing up.
I can tell who was who though, because
the one that sounded smart were Brian.
I know. I was like, Brian's like likening the runway to like
an infinitely more stylish Arn and Tully. Yes.
Yeah, I was like, that's Brian.
Yeah, it was very clear which ones were Brian and which ones were Tony. But it was a great experience, and not only did for me, which was cool, is when we made this network. One of the biggest things is building a community, and for people who support your product and support and love your product, and like people in the chat room, you're commenting, you're enjoying yourselves, you reach out to us. To see that on a level of the live tweeting that was done by Camp Leapfrog, this program that's only been around for not even a year yet has 5 shows out. Now you're doing a Valentine's Day special, and just watching the crowd interaction and some of the tweets. I mean, I'm just going to go off memory. I'm probably not going to quote him there, but one of the person was like, "Yo, I had a real shitty month. Everything's been really terrible. But the highlight of my week was waiting for Camp Love Frog."
Cool.
And people saying like, everything about this show has been fantastic. I become a fan. Like, like just breaking the show down, and really like just complete strangers who are just loving it for the idea of professional wrestling, the inclusiveness of it, and just having someone like the two of the. I mean, I don't really know Chris Ref very well, but I know him enough just through conversation. But knowing Alex and the Maestro and just being just proud friends, man. Like what they've created is really, really cool, and I'm very proud of them, and I love what you guys created. And I really recommend you guys the next Camp Love Frog or the Camp Leapfrog.
Well, the next one's going to be free, right? The Camper's Choice,
the live, yeah,
Leapfrog Live, yes,
Leapfrog Live. Join in on Twitter, man. It was so much fun. It was really fun, and it was a great way to interact with people and find like-minded wrestling fans.
Yeah, I would say, like, I don't know if it's a testament to the live tweets, which is a testament to the show. But after this show, this week, we've sold like a bunch of merch.
Awesome.
A bunch of Camp Leapfrog shirts, a couple in PA, and over in Japan, we're actually selling a shirt, apparently.
Oh,
that's exciting.
Might have been that tweet of that really handsome guy wearing his Leapfrog shirt saying, "Where are your Leapfrog shirts?" and then all that. So
yeah, that's what it was.
That's exactly what it was. No, but no, that was one of my tweets. I put out wearing my. I said, if you're watching this and you don't own a Leapfrog shirt, you're a psychopath.
I feel bad that Farlow's I feel bad that Farlow's in the chat had to leave, because I did make a reference when Molly McCoy used the hockey stick that it was like Ron Hextall and Kent Nilsson.
That is a good reference.
That's going way back.
I'm sure he would have popped for that.
It was a really cool experience when you tweet something and someone retweets it, and then you're like, "This wrestler's killing it," and it's like retweeted by that person.
By that wrestler?
Like, yeah, that's fucking awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's a cool feeling.
I hate the Twitter. That's why I don't have one.
I hated Twitter before live tweeting. Like, that my first
get involved one live tweet, you'll have a good time.
Twitter, I think of all the social media, is the best one for like that kind of instant thing. It's good for news. It's good for like in the moment things like that. It's what it's very useful for.
Absolutely.
Good parts of social media are going to be good on any platform, but like actual social media of just like shit posting is always going to be bad.
If you feed into negativity on social media, you're going to have a negative experience on social media.
And you'll find more of it. That's what you're into.
If you surround yourself with like-minded people, like the Love Frog thing, you won't have a bad experience on Twitter that night, because you're not going to see "I hate this" or "I hate that," or it was more or less like, "This is fucking fun," and it like this.
And to give credit to the show, there wasn't a whole lot to hate here. There wasn't much
not
to hate
at all. I honestly, I think this is my favorite Leapfrog show that was done so far.
Wow.
I think you guys are on a roll, and I love that the wrestling is getting a lot more front and center with the Christmas trios with this one, with the Cybernetical, obviously that was just wrestling, and this I thought was as far as like the story to it too, just because I thought you had a great there was a great setup here with Effie as the big bad, and the Runway were phenomenal as the henchmen. Like I imagine it was like, even though you do have the goons in the Ankillian's crew, I thought of like 1960s Batman when you would have the people with the Joker that would have a black shirt that said goon on it.
Yeah.
And the Runway was perfect in that role.
Everyone shined on the show. Everyone shined. And not only was the wrestling fantastic, but the story was good. Like it was all cohesive. It blended together. It flowed very nicely. It was done really well. And that we're not just saying that because we're blowing smoke up his ass because he's sitting there like
blowed right up my ass, dude.
Yeah.
Damn.
Damn.
Get off your ass so we can blow smoke up.
One out.
It was
right up
fun.
my ass.
Yeah. But let's get to the speed dating.
Speed dating, 5-way scramble match for a date. For a date. They do kind of tease. Allude a little bit that it may be a date with Sam Laterna. But it's a 5-way scramble match where CC Boost defeats Big Dan Champion, Hot Dog Starks, Max Zero, and Lucas Twitch DeSangro. But lo and behold, it's a much better prize. It's a date with the Kilowatt.
The Kilowatt is your look at this guy. Look at this. Look at this guy. Give us the kiss that you did in the camera. Yeah.
with his very nice shirt too. He's wearing a very nice shirt there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
The
I'm a very good professional podcaster.
Yes. And a little behind the scenes, I was listening to your latest episode of What Up, Peeps, and your pants were falling down during that.
Man.
He's like,
they were indeed.
Maybe they're falling down right now.
Well, Alex lost a lot of weight recently. He's been doing really well. He's been taking care of himself. He's doing he's making himself mentally and physically healthier. And when he showed up that day in his nice clothes, he realized he's lost more than he needed in his pants, and he didn't have new ones at the time.
Not the bad way. He
lost more than I needed in my pants.
Yeah.
Lost it on the sides, not the front. The waistline is where he lost it.
It's either a combination of losing some weight or having zero ass.
Yeah. Finding that like one of my greatest features of my life was my butt. I had a great ass, right? And I'm not gaining weight in my legs. Mm-hmm. I'm just losing my butt, and it's going all to my belly. Oh. Yeah.
Nobody likes a flat ass.
Yeah, I have a Hank Hill ass. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's pretty bad. Just goes like that. Yeah, it's like a.
So you also have a narrow urethra.
Oh my!
I might.
Yeah. Like Howard Stern, I have such a small penis, bro.
Yeah. But anyway,
so they want a date with Killian McMurphy.
No, with Kilowatt.
Oh,
yeah. It was me.
It was
that's
him.
Awesome.
He won the date.
Yeah, CC Boost and Kilowatt, and right. we'll revisit that a little bit later.
Yeah,
and because up next we have a blind date, a blind date, literally a blindfold match. Both making their Camp Leapfrog debut. You had Love Doug. I keep saying his name wrong. Against Basic Becca, and Love Doug gets the win here.
Yeah, good match. Really good match.
Yeah, blindfold matches are always tough, but you always have to do the clear thing, which they did here, where Becca does not want to put the blindfold on, and she keeps getting the advantage, but then she falls to Love Doug. Love Doug had great trunks, by the way. I loved Love Doug's trunks. They had like the little love tester thing like you would have in the bar.
Mm-hmm. If I was him, I would pay to get someone to remix Love Gun but sing Love Doug.
Yeah, we know a guy who can do that.
Love Gun is probably my favorite Kiss song of all time.
I love that song. Well, Love Gun is a moniker of Paul Stanley's dick.
Yeah,
that's true.
The Role Models movie.
Yeah. And I don't know if he was here for the beginning, but the intro music was fantastic. The Love Shack spoof.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. Killian dancing in it was probably the highlight. It was really
I thought that the verse that Effie and the Runway did was so good and instantly making them unlikable. And it just really set the tone for the rest of the show.
Oh, what was it?
I hate to burst your bubble, bitch.
Yeah. I'm you're Marty and I'm Sean. Yeah, that was great.
Marty, I want that on a. We talked about that. Like, I want that on a shirt. He goes, "I hate to burst your bubble, bitch, but I'm Marty and you're Sean." I fucking love that. Yeah, I love that lyric. One of the best lyrics.
Excellent.
Straight up maestro, man. He wrote that.
He gave you some credit too. He gave you some credit for that.
Oh
yeah.
Well, I did. We were having a conversation one night, Maestro and myself, and I was just like, hey, wouldn't it be funny if we did Love Frog instead of like Love Shack? And he's like, no, I hate that song. And I'm like,
man, not Kiss.
I'm like, but wouldn't it be funny though? Love Shack, baby. And I'm like, you know what? I'm pitching it to the group. And
then you'll have to do it.
Maestro got outvoted and he had to create the song, and he ended up loving it.
Yeah. If anything, that's the perfect way for him to have a better memory of that song.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Now you got to do Rock Lobster, Frog Lobster. Yeah. Makes no sense at all.
No. Well, if Cajun Crawdad gets resurrected, maybe.
Yeah, we're still pitching Ron Division.
Yeah, Ron Division.
I did pitch that, and it was a decent pitch. It went well.
Nice. But yeah, I want that. The Marty and Sean shirt. I really fucking want that on a t-shirt.
Yeah, he still hates it, just not as much. Nice.
All right, now our next match.
So hopefully that pitch for Ron Division went better than the date between Ryan Nova and Kaya McKenna.
Good segue. You are fucking professional.
That's how it's done.
In this scene, Gina is my absolute favorite.
Oh, she's great. Ref Gina was amazing on the show all around.
She fucking stole it from me. She stole the show, and she was trolling us on Twitter saying that she got fired. I messaged. I'm like, did you guys fucking fire her? Are you dumb? And he's like, she's fucking with you.
That was one of the fun things on Twitter, making friends with Rev Gina. She was awesome. And so
she was the first person I clicked follow on. I will say that.
Wow.
I was like, I'm following her. She's a fucking gem.
So she is also the server here for this date between Kaya McKenna and Ryan Nova. And Ryan Nova's not being a gracious companion here. He's trying to order for Kaya. He's insisting that she pick up the check. So the one way to settle this is in the ring. Loser picks up the check.
Loser pays the tab.
Of course.
And it's an interesting dynamic here because usually with intergender matches, it's a size difference the other way. Kaya is a little bigger than Ryan Nova, and so it was a little bit more of a balanced match than you would see in a lot of men versus women intergender matches. And for somebody that's very new, Kaya's mat work is very good. I noticed that on the Alley Cat show on Fight Forever. A lot of like the ground game is very sound there. And she gets the win here over Ryan Nova with a little assist from her magic, and which Ryan Nova has pointed out is illegal in professional wrestling. Magic
I love Kaya, but I think he's got a point.
But hey, here's the other thing too. Don't be mean to the waitress. Or don't be mean to the server, especially if they're going to be refereeing the match.
It's a good point too. Good point.
Treat the wait staff well, or they're going to let the other person use magic.
They're just doing their job.
Just doing their job.
And so Ryan Nova did have to pay for dinner there, and then and now we got to go to the disheartening portion of the show. It's the Campers of the Year title. 4-way tag team match. Oreo Speedwagon defeats Crush Cakes, the Big Bad Booty Daddies, and the Goons, Zeal O'Neill and Miles Millennium, with Big Dust, who was phenomenal.
Big Dust. We talked about it earlier. I said that Camp Leapfrog has a guy who is just a fantastic manager, and it's like a dying art. Dust is amazing. So good at what he does.
Everybody in this match was good at what they did.
Very good. Yeah, everyone in this match is talented, but Dust as a just as a talent, and not even a professional wrestler, but as just a outside voice of the ring, and what he does is he brings something that's very important to professional wrestling. Got a chance to meet him at a PPW show where we went to go interview Killian, and Killian's like, "Well, you're interviewing me, but he's going to be here too." I didn't know who Dust. I was like, "Yeah, whatever, dude. Like, I want to talk to you, but if that's the case, he's here too." And Killian answered a question and then just said, "I'm going to let my boy answer the next one," and handed Dustin the mic. And I was like, "I'm in love. This guy's fucking amazing." You know what I mean?
Wonderful friends. Little peeling back the curtain here when we were talking about what they want to go over on commentary. Killian said, "I don't want Dust to be referred to as my manager. He is my friend."
I like that.
I love that.
That stable is just insanely talented. You have Killian, you have Miles Millennium, you have Dustin, and I'm sorry I'm having a brain fart. Eel O'Neill. Just really talented dudes who just shine every time the camera's on them. The Goons are going to be a stable to reckon with in professional, and if they stay together.
Good showing too in Christmas Trios. If anybody hasn't seen that, go back and the team that really stole it for me was Salt the Snow, but the Goons were very good too.
There was a line on commentary here that was said. He goes, "I hate Killian. I hate the fact that he that he works out." What was it? I'm not.
Oh, Brad Rush. That was during Killian's match later. I forget the exact line. Yeah.
Oh my god, it was fucking hilarious. I don't remember exactly. If someone remembers, please.
It would be on the Twitter, I believe.
Yeah, it's on Twitter.
I'll go on if you want to look up the Twitter account. I will go on to the next match here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, there was a little interlude here, the dating game with Erica Lee, which was ruined by the Runway and Effie, who swapped out whoever was going to be in there. And so Erica Lee's dating game contestants are all of Killian and his Goons. And you do learn here that Killian is a furry. She doesn't want to date Erica Lee. He wants some furry dude. Which, hey, good for him. But so as only Camp Leapfrog can, this dating game winds up with a match with Erica Lee against Killian Murphy with his friend Big Dust. Unfortunately, the rest of the Goons get involved, and I am not a very Paul is wrong in the chat. I am not a very good wrestling reviewer, or I would have mentioned in the match before, Oreo Speedwagon did get the win with some underhanded tactics, which kind of breaks your heart because they've been one of the the top good guys
and
good,
potty
good,
mouths. Boy, they
oh my goodness, yes. Potty mouths.
They have that Camper of the Year trophy, and they just want to keep it by any means necessary. And but still, I'll like story aside, Oreo Speedwagon never disappoints anytime you watch them.
I do like that somebody in the comments on Twitter said, I love how the 2020 Campers of the Year award can be contested in a match in 2021.
Wow.
Well, if Kurt Angle can lose his 1996 Olympic gold medals to Eugene in a match in the mid 2000s, then anything could happen.
Anything could happen.
I do really want to read a tweet real quick that I thought was fucking amazing, and it's a Twitter from Governor Little Button from Governor Little Button, and this is at Forked PGH. 95% of wrestling, you have a belt. I want that belt. We're gonna fight over that belt. #Lugfrog. Your cronies did everything they could to ruin my heartfelt celebration, continually lied to me, then claimed success over your own. I'm going to put you through a table. That was a tweet that just sums up Leapfrog. Like, some people wrestle titles, some people wrestle for completely different reasons, and it still makes for a great show.
Yeah, the whole story there was just phenomenal.
And then another one tweet. It was, if you think about it, a wrestler kicking the shit out of another wrestler and ruining her party is better motivation than 95% of wrestling storylines today. #love for us.
At least there's a storyline.
Yeah. Oh, very much so. A self-contained story, which was a lot of fun. A self-contained story with a beginning, middle, and end, and the whole thing, which was wonderful.
Yeah. Okay, I found the tweet then. Same person,
go ahead.
Same person retweeted it. Well, I'll say it when we get to the Killian match, but
we were just there. We were just there.
There, sir.
It says, I hate this guy. I hate that he exercises. I hate this guy, and I hate that he exercises. Referring to Killian from the commentary team. I thought that was a great fucking line.
Yeah, Brad Rush was very funny there on the commentary.
Yeah.
And then our next match didn't really get off the ground. It was supposed to be the Camp Leapfrog title match 2-on-1, Abs and Abby Jane, and they were supposed to be taking on a very good professional wrestler, but Sydney Bacabella comes out and puts a kibosh on that. And Sydney Bacabella is amazing.
Yeah, very, very good mouthpiece as well.
Long time Chikara guy who I think he was gone for a little bit, if I'm not mistaken, but he's back. His hair is a lot lighter now. And still hasn't lost a step on the mic. And just kind of pulls a very good professional wrestler out of the match. Maybe Abs and Abby Jane can get a title shot when they actually win a match, he says. So no match here. No match here.
Ron, where does Chikara rank for you as one of your favorite Philly promotions at one point in time?
I love Chikara. Chikara is amazing. I love their storytelling. I love how fun it was. I thank you for bringing that up, because one of the things that they would have mentioned, and we put it on the Facebook and the Twitter this week, is earlier this week would have been the 40th birthday of Larry Sweeney, who was one of the most unique and charismatic wrestlers ever. And sadly, mental illness is a horrible thing, and it didn't work out. But if he would have been around today, he would have been probably in AEW, and he would have been amazing.
Yeah, I almost put this hashtag up quick because it was referring to a different thing. But as you were saying this really heartful thing, I almost put up hashtag piss soup, which was referring to a promotion.
I bad for laughing when he's saying it.
I clicked it. I went to like get it ready and preempt it, and I clicked it as you're like, and mental health, and I like hashtag piss soup, but it wasn't referring to that. It was yeah. There you go. There you go. So referring to
one of my favorite things Larry Sweeney ever did, and it was on a Chikara show. I think it was in like Hellertown or one of those little ones he used to do. He had a thing very similar to what you have now, the with the 24/7 title and the DDT Ironman heavy metalweight title. He had the ICWA Texarkana TV title.
Yes.
And he would always lose it and then say, "Oh, it's 24/7 rules," and then roll up a guy and pin him and get it back. It was like 24/7 rules when it suited him, basically, because it was his title. And I think Brian Alvarez still has it, because they did a lot of back and forth with it. And they did a thing once where Chikara was doing a show, and they did a thing where they bring a little kid into the ring. I think the kid couldn't have been more than like 6 or 7 years old, and he's like jumping up and down on the ropes, he's having a good time. And Larry Sweeney's like, kid, I want to arm wrestle you. And they bring a table into the ring, and he wants to arm wrestle the kid. You're like, oh, he's going to probably let the kid win. This is going to be great. And the kid's like, no, I want the title on the line. And he's like, well, fine, the title's on the line. You got it. He beat that kid in arm wrestling so quick. Her head was it was great.
It's like the $1 Million Man kicking the basketball from the kid's hand.
Exactly.
If you dribble this basketball 4 times, I'll give you $100.
And
yeah.
Poor Abs. It was a rough night for him too. He wanted to give Sam flowers, and she wanted him because he's a good friend. He's a good friend.
The mascot of Camp Leapfrog.
I like to consider him the moral compass, the heart of Camp Leapfrog.
He's a Tommy Dreamer of Camp Leapfrog.
It'd be a dark day if Abs ever goes heel.
Oh boy, that's like John Cena turning. I don't know if we'll ever see it. Jesus,
I don't know. It sounds like I'm doing some sort of a premonition. I'm not. It just made me think.
I don't know if return with so and so and then wrestle so and so. What?
Yeah, and then he's in a match where it's all imagination, and he turns NWO.
One thing we forgot to mention earlier was Max Zero, also very frustrated after losing the scramble match. Just rips off his mask and storms out of the building.
Do you see his face or do you not see his face?
No, you see his blonde hair.
Oh, wow.
You see his flowing blonde locks. And I should mention, I thought he was very impressive in that match. I like that scramble match. Usually when it's a shorter match like that and you have that many people, sometimes people can kind of get lost in it, but everybody's shown in their own way in that match. CC Boost almost came through the screen. I pointed that out during the main event, but the camera work on this show was excellent.
Did a great job.
The camera work on the show was excellent.
The replays were cool too.
Yeah, but just everything Max Zero did look very crisp, very good. So good stuff all around in that match. On the show, good stuff all around. And that continues in the semi-main event here, the tag team match with the Pop Flyers, Boomer Hatfield and Molly McCoy defeating the Runway, Calvin Couture and Tyler Klein. And up to this point, I've always felt like the Runway is so good at showing personality and just making you not like them immediately in the best way that you can not like somebody in wrestling. And here they brought in the ring too. Like, I know before the show, I asked Alex, like, what match do you think would stall? And you're like, obviously the main event, but then the Runway match. And if you like old school tag wrestling, they did it here. I mean, they did it with like red tinsel tag ropes, but they did it.
Wow.
And they're cutting the ring in half. They're isolating, and it was good stuff.
Uh-huh.
But the Pop Flyers do get the win when Molly McCoy does get the hockey stick and go a little Ron Hextall on them, and the Pop Flyers get the win, leading to our main event.
Philly boy over there is going for something here.
There we go. There we go. In Philly, that's a weapon. That's not just used to shoot a puck. That's used to hit some kneecaps.
Yeah, that's how you win a tag team match, right?
A local object. That's not a foreign object. Local object.
It's a domestic object. Actually, no, it's imported. It's from Canada. So then our main event with all the emotion behind it, Still Life with Apricots and Pears against Effie. And oh my goodness, did they tear the house down.
Jesus Christ. They both said the entire time leading up to this. First, it started off with joint respect and mutual respect, but Effie was you could tell there was some tension there, right? And then as the show progresses, you find out Effie is backstabbing and portraying or doing some betrayal. Still like
you get a little hint that Effie wants to take Still Life down a peg or two.
Yes. And he pretty much said, regardless of how this goes, you're only here because of my accomplishments and everything I have done in professional wrestling, and I'm the star here. And regardless of how this is going down, it will be a masterpiece.
And all great heels, there's that little kernel of truth, because Effie has made such strides for LGBTQ plus wrestlers, but then it's how you put that little twist on it is Effie's going to be an asshole about it now.
Yeah,
and Still Life, she deserves her spotlight too, and that's where you kind of get this match.
I mean, obviously, as the show progresses, when it started, I was team Effie. I said in the chat, I'm team Effie, and then as the show went, I was like, Still Life's winning me over. She's doing great things. I'm excited about how this plays out, but man, it's a huge testament. This is literally like when you watch Civil War and you're like, I love Captain America, but I also love Iron Man, and they hate each other in this
So I like the meme.
And you're literally like torn on who you want to win here because both of these
should
people
want Still Life to win because she's the good guy.
But but you can but you can see where the other one is even they're at fault.
Okay, you want Thanos. Like, well, maybe the universe does need half less.
Just the character that jumps off the screen impresses you so much that you're like, man, there's no loser here. Like they were both so well done as characters and what they were portraying as their characters in professional wrestling that it was really, really cool to watch. And the match was just two people beating the shit out of each other.
Cool.
It's a war.
There was blood. Maybe the hard way. I'm assuming the hard way.
And just being in that True Mill before and knowing how hard those floors are with some of these things on the outside. Like no fun.
We watched a blue and gold match that we for sure knew at the end was going to be a black and blue match because Matt took a tombstone on that floor.
I was like,
and I was like, he's dead.
We didn't see the impact from where we were sitting. We just heard it. We heard
that like thunder,
and it's a short ring.
Yeah.
And in your mind, you're not thinking, oh, that's the guy's knees. You're like, that was his head. His head just hit the floor because you suspend your disbelief. I
was like, I just bought this blue and gold shirt, and now I think one of the guys is dead. Yeah. Now it was that building is a really cool building.
It is cool. I like it.
Yeah, it's a very personal building. That arena will have
some old type of factory.
That was our last experience of a live show before COVID. So watching Love Frog in that building was really, it meant something for me. I was like, man, that's a cool building. Yeah.
And they've been doing some cool stuff there. Christmas Trios was there. The Masked Wrestler, IWTV did that there. You'll see some familiar faces. At least one person that everybody in the show knows very well was in the Masked Wrestler.
Yeah. Real quick, maybe you know this, or maybe I don't know if you were paying attention, but when we got there, we were showing up to the building, and Andy, who's wrestled there numerous times, pretty much said, "Whatever you do not go up that fire escape.
Don't even attempt to.
It's fucking terrifying."
It is.
And did anyone attempt it?
Yeah, multiple people came in that way. I did not.
I'm going to assume Trajan did because I know he did.
Trajan 100% doesn't care. He'll walk right up that thing.
When I stepped on, I started moving, and just pieces rusted off. I'm like, I'm not walking up this.
Trajan
go on the front.
Yeah,
it's not just one story or two. It's about 3.5 stories,
and it's all graded. So as you're going up, you can see your death,
and it's rusted. And I'm like, this is probably against code. But it's an old mill, it's an old factory. They're probably like, if they die, we'll hire somebody else.
Yeah,
I walk around the building. I said, I'm walking up there.
Yeah, we had to carry all of our equipment. We're walking around. That was it. And then a couple hours later, the door swings open and Trajan walks in. I'm like, you're a fucking psychopath.
And I walk around. I walk around all day.
Look, I've been a big dude long enough that I'm careful where I walk. I care for where I sit. I do not take chances.
Yeah. Kurt, I will be sending a link very shortly here. But we're almost done wrapping up Leapfrog, and then we'll jump over to our Patreon account. And we'll get everybody in, and we'll talk Elimination Chamber.
Kurt Kowalski.
The killer Kowalski.
Not because it's 3Ks.
All right. So at this match, let's get back into it here.
The very end, Still Life gets the submission victory, and all is well in the end. All is well in the end because Effie sees the error of his ways and just acknowledges that Still Life was the better person in this match and that it is her night to shine.
They embrace.
And they embrace. And then from there, we do get a little interlude at the end. When you watch You Can't Believe Frog, always stay to the end. It's like watching something in Marvel. Because we do learn the after results of the date between CC Boost and Kilowatt.
No,
little love letter on the pillow.
Hey,
yeah. Well, so where were you? You were losing things in your pants. You definitely weren't losing them in the front.
Yeah. Well, they ended up on the floor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Listen, that's canon now. So
true.
I like to consider myself a little bit hetero-flexible. So
whatever makes you comfortable, man.
No judging.
No judgment at all.
I've never seen this CC guy. I don't know what he looks like.
He's a stud. He's a good-looking dude. But the entire first show with violence and killing, I was like, man, that main event that match was probably my favorite on that show. And then going through them all,
did Violence wrestle Warhorse?
Violence and Warhorse was a great
that
match.
was the second one. That was the second.
But I will say, I don't know if it's because it's fresh in my mind. It's the most recent one I watched, but man, Effie and Still Life, they brought it. It was a really good match. Going through doors and tables, and it was.
It had a much more serious approach. Like the Warhorse had a lot of comedy in it with Boner.
Yeah.
I mean, there was some cool stuff. Double elbow drop off the top. But this was straight up more serious.
Just watching a dude with that mustache and that chest hair, wearing those tiny trunks with fishnets underneath him, and his head is bleeding. He's like, "I'll fucking kill you." I'm like, this guy's fucking my hero. Like, he's awesome.
He's my hero.
Like he's such a badass. Like
everything I want to be.
Well, he came out in a leather jacket, right? I mean,
it was like and when I say this, it's not in a derogatory term at all. It's like the villain from Gangs of New York.
Okay.
If he wore tight underwear and fucking fishnet underwear, like he was like a fucking badass. Like I became a huge Effie and Still Life fan. She was amazing also, but that it's literally like flip a coin. Who's your favorite after this match is over? Like they were so good.
By the way, to throw them a plug, if you like them, I know they're doing another. I think it's going to be called Effie's Big Gay Brunch.
Yes.
On the Collective. They're like the old WrestleMania weekend shows down in Tampa. They're doing one for the culture. They announced this week that they're going to have Too Cold against Rich Swann in the main event. They're going to be Effie's going to be doing a show. Joey Janela's Spring Break. A lot of those things are going to be back, and hopefully, I would imagine Still Life's going to be a part of that, because I know one of the things where she really started to take off for me, like it was that rounds match with Cheeseburger on the first Can't Believe. I'm like, whoa, okay, this is somebody to pay attention to.
Here's the thing, real quick. I don't, but she lost that match. So I just want to kind of put out, and this is not, once again, a behind the scenes thing, but like if you go to Leapfrog and you're booked, or you watch a Leapfrog and you watch someone lose a match, I'm not saying that wins and losses don't matter, but that's someone, Still Life, who showcased very well in that match. She did a great job, but then a couple shows later, the whole show's up like circled around her. You know what I mean? And it was like she was the superstar of it. So you never know watching Leapfrog who the next big thing's going to be, and it's not always who wins or loses matches. It's a cool dynamic I like about Leapfrog.
Yeah, I believe it's not announced yet, but there will be a host for Camper's Choice, and it's one of the campers, and it's one that's getting over pretty quickly. So
yeah, it's
you never know who gets over.
Yeah, it's giving these talent an opportunity to really showcase what they can do. Leapfrog is doing great things.
And that's
for the
one good thing about social media. You can find out who is getting over, and then you kind of do the opposite of it and actually push that person.
Yeah.
Or at least put them on more and spotlight them. And people want to see that person.
The owners and creators of Leapfrog are paying attention to those lives.
They're not
the tweets and
ignorant to that.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, Brian, what you were saying.
Oh no, I was gonna say no. I was just saying that just keep an eye out for that show, and then obviously Camper's Choice. I kind of did get to finish,
especially
everything.
The free for all before it.
And the free for all match before the live is going to be really exciting.
Better watch that.
Yeah, keep an eye on that. We're not announcing anything.
Nope.
But yeah, and then you could huge shout out to Wicked Turtle, which will be sponsoring that. If you've seen the shout outs, that's our
and IWTV. We watch all this stuff.
A lot of fun stuff. So anything in closing, Leapfrog, you guys want to put out there?
Camper's Choice, 3:20, I believe. Saturday 3:20. It's going to be cool. It's like Cyber Sunday. Or Cyber Tuesday.
Taboo Tuesday, and then it was Cyber Sunday. Where the fans vote on the matches.
So there's at the very least, there's a few matches that you'll be able to book as a fan. Not only the stipulation of the match, but the participants as well.
That's cool. Ooh, very cool.
Yeah. I'm super excited. You guys are doing great things over there. Big fans. If you want to go watch previous Leapfrogs to kind of catch up, hear what we were just talking about, and experience it for yourself, head over to iwtv.com. Use the code Leapfrog for your first 5 days free. After that, it's $10 a month. You can't go wrong. There's a lot of great content on there.
Plenty of stuff to watch in there.
And then just pulling back from Camp Leapfrog as part of the high tension universe as a whole. Big news this week: Johnny Moran with his podcast.
That's right.
Yeah.
Was it Johnny and Friends? Or
Johnny
Moran and Friends. With the classic rock and wrestling 1980s.
Oh, so cool.
Logo. That logo is awesome.
And everyone on that logo is his guest for season 1.
Yeah, how about that?
So
I think season 2 and get all new cast.
That's what he's looking to do. That's what he's looking to do. So And I think just that post alone of seeing everyone's cartoon, he's already
I thought you
booked.
said Post Malone.
Yeah, he may be there eventually, but Moran, I think, is booked for the next 10 seasons now. I think
everyone.
A lot of people jumping on.
Yeah, people want to be on that podcast.
Yeah, I won't say who, but like he's actually gotten like calls from people who are now living in Florida that are like, "Hey, remember me? Let me get on your podcast."
Boom clap, boom clap.
Yeah, well, I don't know about all that.
I think
saliva, quick, boom. What?
Kinda. Just
I know.
Just maybe green. Anyway.
Oh no. I
No?
don't know if that ego is going to submit to a Johnny Moran podcast.
I don't know. How much would you pay him?
Yeah, right now we don't.
He has to go over Johnny on his own show, though, right?
Yeah.
Win the belt. Well, only if Impact's going to be there.
Yeah, he only shows up
I'm
when
just going to slink down in the chair a little bit. A little uncomfortable.
Look, I love Mike Orlando. Like, I'm not going to. Did I say his name out loud? But I love the guy. But I mean, I think he is aware of the ego that he's had in the past.
Yeah,
I mean, I think he's a little more humble these days.
I hope so, because when you have people who are still part of a company and working their ass off, and they don't even get an opportunity to wrestle for an Impact show, and a guy who took his ball and went home, and he comes back and gets a TV show, a TV taping match.
You're right.
It's kind of disappointing. People are paying their dues, and if you're gonna leave, then leave and make your mark somewhere else. Don't come back and take somebody else's spot away.
Yes, fully agree.
Yeah,
politicking, not a fan.
And honestly, and as someone who is a fan and enjoyed his matches with Sean Carr and thought he did great things, it maybe wasn't his best showing because he just came off his injury and it wasn't a good look for him. And someone who's concerned about his health, I was more concerned for him the entire time than I was enjoying the match, But he is healthier now and hopefully doing better, and he's developed new gimmicks and stuff. So I wish nothing but the best. But it is what it is. Yeah. So a lot of cool things happen over High Tension. You got new podcasts coming. I'm very excited for that one.
New podcasts, more podcasts in development.
There you go.
Yeah.
TBA to be announced, I'm sure.
The wheels are turning.
Indeed, they are.
Trying
to
legitimize
wellness, that whole thing. Yeah, High Tension Wellness. I think possibly tomorrow night might be the debut of the podcast that happens between monthly episodes that kind of like dive deeper into the topics that were on the main show. So
nice. Hopefully, I think the way it's going to start looking now is you may see more of the Kilowatt here on the IWP network. The show that was supposed to happen is on the back burner. Some things are going on, but where that show maybe isn't happening now, the door is open for him to. You may see Kilowatt more frequently. You'll see him on Truth Behind Illusion, Not Cool in High School, and Tornado Tag. So if you're a fan of Kilowatt, be excited because he's becoming a staple here. We couldn't use him on that one show because things kind of fell through, but we're gonna plug him in where we're needed, and he's all over the place. And
if you're not a fan of Kilowatt, we'll fight you.
Yeah.
Right. I thought he was going to murder my dude plug there.
Yeah.
You're not a fan of that, but you might be a fan of true crime podcasting.
Yeah,
so
we'll get there.
My dude's the one for you.
One more wrestling plug, and then we'll turn it over. But if you are also a fan of Kilowatt and him on IWP Network, Wicked Turtle, and High Tension, he's also featured on the PA Piledriver Network podcast on their brand new show, which is called PPW Unplugged, which is coming soon. Yeah, so that will feature Alex.
I think I'm officially the first person that transcends all the PA podcasts.
Are you trying to be the Conrad Thompson of Pennsylvania Pro Wrestling Podcast?
I will tell you, if anybody's the Conrad Thompson of that podcast, it's Scott Fineout. And you'll see he does a tremendous job of directing the podcast. It's really well done. I would check it out.
Yeah, I think he's the Alex, the John Moxley of the podcast world. Like he's all through brands. He's everywhere. You never know where he's going to show up next. Is he going to do a run in on New Japan? Is he showing up at Impact? It's crazy.
Pretty soon it's going to be Bob Culture and Kilowatt.
Yeah, you never know. He may show up on the Bob Culture Network. Who knows? But it's a testament to you, man. You're a good dude. People enjoy working with you. You bring a lot to the table, and you're just a good human. And people want to. They want pieces of you, man. They all want to win dates,
That's right.
You can't all be CC Boost, unfortunately.
Yeah. Andy, what do you got to plug?
I think we plugged everything already. I got nothing else to plug.
Yes, you have a show in March.
Yeah, the show March 6th. I don't know the exact building. I'll share the flyer. It is for what is it? HTW.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not high tension wrestling. It's an but yeah, it's
There's
much
another
simpler.
HTW.
Yeah, or something, or no, it's something. I forget. Oh my God.
I'm gonna try to pull it up here. I'm gonna.
Yeah, I have it right on my phone.
Yeah.
If you give me a second.
Also,
here.
you have a new T-shirt out.
Yeah, I have it's a Star Wars themed one for Blue and Gold. I'm gonna order them soon. And
it is WAV Pro Wrestling. Sorry to cut you off there.
Okay, this is a different one. Yeah, WAW. So it was 4 promotions last time that went together and run one show, and I'm like, I don't know the fucking name. Yeah, it is March 6th, and it is at. It doesn't say. Oh, the Signature is Boxing and Fitness at 1512 Albright Avenue in Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Wow.
So it is us, Blue and Gold, me and Matt Turner taking on Diamond City War Machine, so Vader Manhattan, Drag the Mail versus Born to Wrestle, and I do not know their name.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
They have the whole Ninja Turtle gimmick.
A 3-way. Oh, okay.
So not like their logo is the Ninja Turtle format. I love it.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that.
And
then we got some tapings coming up and everything.
Yeah.
Never know where I'm gonna pop up.
Check them out on also Not Cool in High School and Truth
Yes.
Illusion.
Yes.
Yeah. Brian, what do you got?
This is where I would normally plug Murder My Dude, but not this week. We got something new this week. Murder My Dude's going every other week.
Well, the newest episode just dropped. 101 just dropped.
Yeah, episode 101, the Lipstick Killer. If you go to if you look up Murder My Dude anywhere you look up podcasts, you'll find that. William Hirons, or was it?
Ooh.
And very
yeah.
good episode. I just listened to it last night.
And we did announce on that episode that we're going to be doing Murder My Dude every other week. It's a very prep intensive podcast. You got to do a lot of research. It's going to make my life a whole lot easier. And in the weeks in between, we're launching something new called Pedantic, where we kind of look into idioms, like how things began. Basically, the idea is we're going to start with something like, hey, where did this come from? How did this get this name? Why is this called this? Why did this happen? And then from there, we can go anywhere. So it's something we're going to kind of, when you're doing a podcast, it's usually starts with something, and then it becomes something else entirely 7 episodes in. So we're going to, exactly, yes. So we're going to start this. We're going to see where it goes. I think the first episode will be coming out this Thursday. We're going to stick to the same release schedule, Thursday at midnight. If you're already subscribed to Murder My Dude, I think we're going to put the first couple of episodes up, but it's going to be called Pedantic, Podantic, Pedantic.
And you can follow that on. I know it's on Instagram right now. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think we have a Facebook yet. I'm gonna for the first couple of weeks, it's gonna be on the Murder My Dude feed too. So just keep in with Murder My Dude, and we'll keep everybody updated from there.
And you and your co-host Jack do a great job bantering and talking and figuring things out. So it's a very exciting podcast. I'm excited for it. I'm proud of you guys. I think I personally get upset when I don't record every day anymore because I enjoy sitting and talking with you guys, and it's my only way of social interaction. But from a standpoint and the quality aspect, I think it is much better taking breaks in between. You're not doing a weekly show. It is.
We had a few shows where, like, because of the time constraints on prepping, it's like I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have done that. So yeah, this should make it a lot easier. Make the
and I'm spreading you thin. You're doing research for this show.
No. It's
wrestling's all in his mind.
It is.
Yeah. I can freestyle most of that stuff actually. Yeah, the murder stuff I do have to look it up.
I know we got most of your stuff out of the way there, Kilowatt. I'm just going down through the order of the boxes here.
Oh yeah, we plugged the hell out of Austin stuff earlier.
Yeah.
We've done a good job with the plugs this week.
So if you check out the links below, all of Camp Leapfrog, High Tension, and IWTV is down there. So is there anything we're missing? We covered a lot of it.
Yeah, Wicked Turtle, what up, peeps? Wicked Turtle sponsors Camper's Choice.
Cyber Sex
my
Tuesday.
Stuff with you guys, the PPW Unplugged, the High Tension Wellness, and it's just like, what am I not doing? Yeah, that's about it.
Check out his OnlyFans.
I'm getting the Mike Orlando syndrome over here.
Yeah. You're only one thing away from a hot girlfriend.
Give this guy, give him a belt. Just give him the belt.
Just give him the belt. Yeah, I'd put you as champion. Austin, what do you got?
Yeah, we spent like 10 to 15 minutes talking about Farlow's and Dietz Watson. So,
there's never enough time talking about hoagies. Let's go.
That's true. I'm going to plug positivity and progression because I think that was like talking about Ron Simmons. I think that was kind of one of the themes that we were talking about. So, and then going over to Camp Love Frog. So I'm just going to plug positivity and progression because I think
stay posy, as the hardcore bands used to say.
Yeah. I just got to pull something up really, really quick. I'm sorry. I want to plug one more thing. One more thing I want to whip out and slap on your guys' faces here real fast.
I thought you had a chainsaw there. What is even chainsaw?
You might have a chainsaw.
Man, I'd like to take this chainsaw.
He's doing his Molly McCoy cosplay over there.
Yeah. Where is it?
What if she went from a hockey player to chainsaw, like lumberjack?
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Anything's possible at Leapfrog.
I mean, it's kind of like what's his name, the guy from ROH, Grizzly Breadwood.
Yeah.
Check out if you're a fan of our intro and outro music, which you're about to hear any second now. Billy Trey just started a new podcast called Scared Sounds. They just released episode 1, part 2. If you go on Spotify right now, it's called Scared Sounds Podcast. So go show him some love. He's done a lot of cool stuff behind the scenes when it comes to the podcast.
And in front of the scenes, they did a few shows.
And he started his own podcast. He's a really good dude, and go show him support. That'll do it. If you guys hurry up, head over, check out the links below. There's gonna be the Patreon link. Go subscribe. It's $5. You're gonna get a private link. You'll get a little thing. You can watch live. You can interact with us behind the scenes instead of watching later. Come hang out with us. It's gonna be a really good time. I didn't put the banner up the whole time. Sorry, but there it is.
There it is.
Yeah, we're out of here. Here's some Billy Trey. We'll talk to you guys next time.